So, Arkansas.
Can we talk about how Arkansas isn't pronounced Arkansas and instead it's pronounced
Arkansas?
Yeah,
Arkansas.
Never mind.
We take what do you want to talk about for it, man?
It just doesn't make any sense. Like half of the things in the English language just. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Get on the microphone.
Get on the microphone.
You said
Get
easier on the
closer.
microphone. Or you want me to get okay?
You need to get on it, man. You need to get on like you're about to make up. With
Yeah,
someone.
bro. You need to
be
get
careful what
intimate.
you ask for.
You
You
need
need
to
to
get
eat it.
intimate, man.
Just be careful what you ask
You just
for.
need to eat the
You need to be
microphone.
intimate.
Yeah.
You got-
But what about Arkansas?
I don't know. It was just a simple comment because we don't know where any of the states are.
The English
I feel
language
like-
is pretty. It's got a bunch of stupid rules, man, and it's a weird language,
yeah,
man.
like I hate silent letters.
Yeah,
I hate silent letters. That's like a pet peeve of mine. Like pneumonia.
pneumonia.
Why is there a P there?
Why is there
Why
a
is
P
the
at the
P
beginning?
silent? And
Yeah.
Eric's messing with the mic.
Like, I don't know,
There we
dude.
go. That's probably more comfortable for him. I probably should mess with mine too.
Why is there an S in island?
This is probably the worst episode because we just spent 5 minutes just readjusting everything.
Yeah.
Why is there S in island?
In,
I'm starting to say S.
you almost said it. In an island.
Yeah, as a kid, I always would pronounce the S's.
Island.
Dude, you need to get up on that mic more. You need to be like it's
bro.
gonna be a weird.
Is this
habit to
close
get-
enough?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
That's real
That's
good. I can
good.
hear you. I can hear you now.
You gotta get intimate, Eric.
You know what else is pretty stupid? That'll piss you off, man. My the prefix to my first name. It's pronounced Win, but guess how it's spelled? Nguyen, right?
Oh.
Yeah,
So is that's how you pronounce that?
Yeah, that
Wait.
the prefix to my name.
I've known you
before on.
since freshman year of high school, and I'm just now figuring.
Well, I don't tell people about it.
Yeah, I've always been scared to pronounce your name, honestly.
I think someone gave up and called me Nigel. At DMV the other day. they just gave up. She gave up and she said, Nigel! I was like, yo, who's Nigel?
Whoa.
Why
Was it a substitute teacher?
I think it was.
I think the best substitute teachers I've ever had were the ones that I had in band class because none of them were even associated or even liked music, but somehow they were like qualified to be substitute teachers.
Were you ever in there when we had a substitute teacher and I just told him my name was Kevin?
I think so.
I tricked the substitute
Wow.
teacher into calling me Kevin.
Wow.
It was hilarious.
I mean, I don't mean to dog on substitute teachers, but the majority of them aren't the brightest thing.
Well, because I mean, it's just like I guess it's like the welfare of jobs.
Yeah, but I think the requirements to be a substitute teacher are even like less than what is required to be just a history teacher at like an elementary school.
Yeah, I feel like substitute teachers are like teachers that couldn't make it as like real teachers, so they had to be substitute.
Iverson's already dropping some bombs over
my
here.
God.
People
Oh,
in the comments
jeez.
section, you don't know what it takes to be a substitute teacher.
Yeah.
You know about anything.
But big respects for teachers.
Oh, 100%. I'm not
Yeah,
dogging on
Yeah,
teachers
yeah,
in general.
yeah. I just want to make sure, we give them, props
Yeah.
for what they do. Very important.
Okay.
Very
I
important.
mean, I respect it. I
I-
see you watching where
I respect
Man.
teachers too, but anyway, these first 10 minutes.
no
have
one's
been
insinuating that we are disrespecting teachers.
No, I know.
I mean, no
I'm
one
just
is,
trying
but I might come off as all right. Anyway, we need to talk about these topics, man. 'Cause
Okay.
Okay.
we spent the past 10 minutes just dicking around.
All right, let's hear them.
So, I guess the first thing we'll talk about is America's obesity issue.
Mm.
Which the reason I pulled this up, Mario, is because I kind of creeped on your Instagram page and I saw that you went from 240 something to like 170.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I should have posted more pictures. Yeah, I think at my heaviest. I was a little more than that. I was probably closer to 260.
260.
Yeah, and then I dropped to around. I think I hit 160, and then I was like, that's enough because
160.
Man, I was eating about 1,000 calories a day.
What would you even look
Man.
like at 160? Because you have
I don't know,
you have a
dude. I
pretty
lost-
big frame.
I definitely lost muscle, but yeah, it was a pretty big weight loss journey. Basically, growing up the way I did, for other reasons, I didn't like work out very much, and I stayed home a lot, and so yeah, I guess I've always been
And your mama fed you well?
Yeah, there is that. Being
Yeah.
Puerto Rican, you know, it's a lot of
Puerto
fried-
Ricans, Hispanics in general.
Oh, Hispanics. Yeah, dude,
I bet,
we
man.
fry everything.
Yeah.
I mean, even the rice, dog. I mean,
bet,
it was delicious. But yeah, I didn't exercise very much, and then I came to college, and I was like, oh, we have a free, recreational center.
Which is kind of funny because some people, when they get to college, what they call it, a freshman 15? Or
Yeah,
they
they
start
gain
gaining
15.
all
Yeah.
kinds of weight because what do they have around there? They have fried chicken, another
Yeah.
fried chicken
Oh,
place,
yeah.
burger places.
I think it's a combination of more available junk food, but at the same time, like, your mom isn't bossing you around
Yeah,
to.
your mom's not there to slap the shit out of you when you're
Yeah.
eating 5
Yeah.
chicken tenders a night. Over how much time did you lose that weight, though? That's my big question.
That was about a year and about a year and a half.
To get down to 160?
To get
Yeah, that was
It's 100 pounds.
That was a struggle, and so
it was.
I went through like different stages.
Mm-hmm.
I went through the first stage, which was awful. Which was basically I like asked a skinny friend of mine, and I was like, "How do I get skinny?" And he was like, "I don't know, bro. Run. It's that simple." And I
Yeah.
was like, "All right then." So I used to run a 5K every day,
All right.
weighing what I weighed, and pretty soon I got like severe like shin splints. you
Yeah,
know?
dude, your joints were just getting hammered.
Oh yeah, my knees were hurting, ankles were hurting. I think it's called the runner's touch, where you just poke my shins, and I would scream in pain. So it was great time.
Did you do anything differently diet-wise? Because I
Oh,
think
yeah,
you
yeah.
mentioned something that you were only taking in 1,000 calories.
So okay, so
Elaborate on that because that
I'll-
doesn't sound too healthy.
I'll briefly guide you through the journey. So the beginning was the running stage. There was a
Right.
running stage where I tried to run a lot, and I did lose some weight, but that was very hard on like my feet. And so that's when I got into like bodybuilding. I was like, okay, how do bodybuilders do this?
Mhm.
And so went to like YouTube, went online, and a lot of bodybuilders, obviously, it's a mix of diet and exercise and cardio. And so then the next phase I entered was keto, the ketogenic diet, which is essentially very high fat, very low carb, similar to Atkins, and moderate protein. And so I just gave up carbs completely.
That must have been rough.
It was, but I enjoyed it because fats are very satisfying. They're very satisfying. I mean, carbs are too, but fats are very satisfying. And I like meat a lot, so I just eat like meat and like fats. That worked. Keto was cool.
Were you kind of controlling what kind of fats you took in? Like you weren't going for.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're kind of avoiding saturated fats.
I
little bit.
tried. I didn't know what I was doing very much, so I went.
It's okay.
I like
Yeah.
what I do. I would just eat like burger patties.
Oh.
And then
Just by themselves.
yeah, just burger patties by himself, some cheese, nuts, fried chicken, but and I'd take off like the breading and stuff. So I didn't really know what I was doing. Eventually, I got to a better place where I ate more like lean meats. I got my fats primarily from nuts, almonds.
And you were
peanuts,
still on
cashews.
the keto diet?
Yeah, I was on the keto
What do you think
diet.
about the keto diet right now? Now that you're educated.
So, I think it's cool. It depends on how you are. I think it's it's something cool to try out. There's some cool research out there on the ketogenic diet as far as like anti-cancer, because cancer cells are extremely sugar glucose hungry. I believe I read in a paper that like tumors need like up to 40 times the amount of glucose that regular cells need. And so there's some interesting evidence out there that doing a keto diet and just eliminating a lot of those carbs basically makes it pretty tough on the tumors. It's cool, but ultimately I think the lesson is that you should find a diet that fits your lifestyle and what makes it easier for you to get into a caloric deficit. The whole energy balance, try to
Right.
eat less or expend more energy.
Because that's at the end of the day, that's what weight loss is basically.
Yeah,
is
exactly.
It's a calorie deficit where you make sure you don't take in more than you burn, or I don't know the proper wording for that. But on that topic, I had a friend, right? He went on this diet. He was starting to get healthy, right? dude weighed 300 pounds. He dropped 35, maybe 40 pounds over the year, which was great. He was making progress. And then he got lazy. So I think it's called like the yo-yo diet, right? Where when he gained back that weight, right, he was saying, okay, I'm going to lose it again. Well, it's been a year, and he's only lost 15 pounds. And that's because I guess the body, during the time he was dieting and losing weight, at the time, the body was thinking, oh my God, this idiot is starving himself. So when he got all his fat back, all his weight back, his body, it goes into the state where it's going to try to retain more of that fat, more of the weight, I think. And that's why I try to watch what I eat, but I don't really go extreme on diets because I don't have discipline. And that's part of it.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
It's part of it. I love my mom's cooking. I ain't gonna get away from that. So I just try to eat more greens in my diet, and I'm just not a very disciplined person. That's what I was trying to say.
Going back to the keto thing, I think it's very important to understand that ketogenic diets, they are prescribed to very, very specific cases. So I think that because it worked for you, because you were coming off of being 260 pounds and then lost like almost 100 pounds. That's a very, very specific case because for most people, when you just completely remove carbohydrates, you're removing a preferential nutrient, both in terms of, what your brain, typically wants to run on, and then just, the rest of your organs. And switching to a ketogenic diet, I've done a lot of research about it, and you end up, when you remove those preferential nutrients, you end up being sluggish. Your mental focus isn't there, and just it could lead to health complications because your organs aren't functioning the way that they should be, because depending on how you transition into that ketogenic diet and how much emphasis you put into it, it could lead to a worse payout than if you were to just lower your calories through conventional means.
Yeah, it is interesting that some people do report the sluggish feeling because so the brain primarily likes to run off of glucose, but when you're in a ketogenic diet, you force your brain to run off of ketone bodies or ketones, which your body forms by breaking down the fats. So it really does depend on the person. I did that for a while and I liked it. I didn't feel sluggish. I know some people do say that they feel a little sluggish. I didn't feel very sluggish, but then eventually I got to the point where I just tracked everything. I went to Walmart, got a $10 food weight. Yeah. Downloaded the free app, MyFitnessPal. Shout out to MyFitnessPal.
Life-changing, my man.
Sponsor me.
It's life-ching.
Sponsor.
Can we talk about how MyFitnessPal? So when the app first came out, it allows you the basic functionality of just to track your food very simply. Like, you set calorie goals, and then you split up those calories between, your basic carbs, your fats, and your proteins, respectively. And you can, change each individual value to see, what percentage of my calories am I going to use for protein, and so on and so forth. And the app was fantastic because it was like, users implemented, like it was just a collection of user information. Any user could type in, a given food item. And if it had known macronutrients, you could just type in those macronutrients as printed on the box. But now, so this app's been around for, anywhere from 5-6 years? It's been around for a while. So all of these, there's a lot of features that were originally in the app, like changing percentages of your calorie goal, by 6.1, 61.2%, just very, you could change the percentages, very finely. And now you can only change them in increments of 5% because the ability to change them any finer than that is a paid, you have to pay a monthly subscription to use some of the features that were originally in the app when it first came out. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of ridiculous. And I've noticed this trend with a lot of apps where when they first come out, they're great apps. They gain a lot of traction because, they're useful. They offer, they're utilitarian. But all of a sudden, these apps blow up and then they start removing all of these features only to bring them back as a paid feature.
I guess that's kind of the music industry equivalent of selling out.
Dude, I mean, I don't know what it is, but it's so annoying. It's mad annoying whenever I see that.
Well, they do gotta, I mean, wouldn't you want to make some money off of something if it was starting to become successful?
Right. So they didn't have ads at first, or the ones that they did, they were pretty non-intrusive. And now, I mean, they have apps or ads, but they have all these other things that they're trying to make money off of. And for the most part, I think the ads would be enough given the amount of people that use it. I think it's just that they're just like pushing it to the extreme, honestly.
Well, sometimes those ads don't even cut them that much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm ignorant about that because I don't know how any of that stuff works.
I mean, me too, but I know.
I'm just pissed off that I can't use the app that I originally got. That's the whole point of that.
Yo, you heard it here. Erik Jiminez asking for free shit. Once again, this episode was not sponsored by MyFitnessPal. It's sponsored by me. I paid for all this shit. So before we start making fun of people, what were we talking about? The obesity.
I don't even.
We went to dieting.
Oh,
I pulled up the
okay.
subject of the American obesity issue.
Right. Okay.
Why do you think that's such a thing?
I think that the biggest issue is that we have this craze about fad diets, about these these ideals and all of these strategies to get to that, to get to those ideals, but none of them are sustainable. And we live in this world where it's just crazy marketing and everyone's trying to sell you stuff and everyone's trying to sell you this, specific, oh, this is going to make you look the way that you want to. And it just doesn't work like that. Like, it shouldn't have to feel like a diet. It should just feel like, part of your everyday routine, part of your habits.
I think people just get demotivated because, like, you were talking about that some of these diets, right? Some of these diets are really stupid.
Yeah.
Or they go too extreme. They'll be like, or they're really misinformed. It's like no fats, no carbs. Like, that's stupid. There's carbs.
Let me
fats,
backtrack real
everything.
quick. Actually, I think that the bigger issue is because if you look at the demographic of people that are, obese and tend to be overweight, it's usually the lower class. It's not, the very expensive people, or the very expensive people. What I try to sell people here? It's not the wealthy people. It's it's the average people and even mostly the poor, and it's because unhealthy food is incredibly cost effective in comparison to healthy food. It is very, very expensive to actually eat healthy. Like, it's actually very expensive to go out, get vegetables, get those micronutrients that you need to live a long, healthy life. And it's much more convenient, to take your child over and get McDonald's and then watch him balloon to 150 pounder as an 8-year-old.
It's easier for me to spend $3 on McDonald's
exactly.
than it is to go buy a bag of kale, go home, chop up the garlic, and just take the time to cook
and it's not even necessarily the amount of time that you have to invest in order to eat healthy. It's just plainly, even if those foods were sold prepared, they would still be far more expensive than it would be just to go get a cheeseburger. And I think that's part of it, that we have all of this available junk food at such a low cost, and it's kind of pushing the majority of people, especially the people that don't have a lot of money, and then they have to ration out already, the money that they have in order to feed their children. It pushes them to make those poor choices, and I think that is the main contributing factor behind the obesity epidemic.
Yeah, they don't exercise because BMI, I don't know if they updated it.
Yeah.
As far as I know, BMI only takes into account your height and weight. It has nothing to do with muscle.
Your BMI?
Yeah, that's very true.
They don't, because
they're teaching us that in med school.
Yeah, BMI was originally developed. Oh, I just interrupted you. My bad.
Yeah, you're right. You just did, but I mean, I didn't have much to say. All I was going to say was BMI doesn't, it takes into account the average American citizen.
Yeah.
Who most of them they don't go to gym or work out or do anything active during the day. They only take into account their height and the weight. Mm-hmm. So that's all I had to say.
So I think BMI, correct me if I'm wrong, Mario, but I think BMI was originally developed by the government just as a quick way of kind of judging, an overall population's health. And whenever it first, it came out in maybe 50s and 60s, just a long time before, the convention of knowing that, you can be of a BMI that would classify you as obese and be a perfectly healthy individual.
Yeah.
Your BMI, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Is way over what would be considered, the healthy level.
My BMI, I'm considered morbidly obese. Now,
exactly.
I'm not saying I'm the healthiest looking dude. I'm pretty
scrawny, and I'm
fat,
considered
right?
I'm considered obese by per the BMI specifications.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What I was told in school was basically BMI was a very quick and easy way to just imagine your patient in your head.
Yeah.
So you see, patient is this age, this gender, this BMI, and so it's supposed to kind of help you imagine the patient, because normally people who have a high BMI, these are people who may have to deal with something called metabolic syndrome. So that's like, the whole combination of hypertension or high blood pressure. There's diabetes, and other, in obesity. So I was taught it was just basically a quick way to just imagine a patient.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that being, useful, for
To a degree.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's clearly useful. It was clearly meant not to serve as like, a way to generalize people, but unfortunately, I think that's what it's turned into.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, on a random note, like, remember the other day we were working out and my blood results came in and it said like my cholesterol was at like 232?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they actually fucked up, right? Because they called me the next day, say, "Oh, your cholesterol is actually amazing. It's at
Really?
175, and you last year it was sitting around
It's an
220."
arbitrary number for me, my man. I have no
Right.
idea what good cholesterol is.
So here's what I was told. I was told this. Don't quote me on this, but I was told that 200, you're pushing it for cholesterol, and that's kind of your normal levels. Anything past, then you start getting into the problems like hypertension, obviously. But yeah. And the funny thing is my cholesterol dropped down that much, but I wasn't exactly eating healthy until 3 months before the doctor's appointment. And I thought when people said kale was really beneficial, I thought that was some hippie shit, right?
Yeah.
But I started eating 1 bag of kale every week, and not only is my cholesterol down, I just feel better with a combination of eating smarter, being active, getting off my ass, going back into strength training, which is one of the best things I've done since I got back from New York. It's like I feel amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like I can take on the world.
I think that micronutrients as a whole, the micronutrients that you get from vegetables are just often overlooked, but they have such a huge impact on your everyday function.
They do.
Yeah,
and also you gotta think about. So now you're eating this kale. What were you eating instead of the kale?
What was I?
Chips,
I wasn't
maybe?
even eating kale, man. I think my diet was so bad. It was straight up. It was sandwiches. It was meat.
Okay.
It was fried meat.
Yeah.
It was probably some potatoes. It was stew. Like, it was really bad. Not saying that my diet's any better. I'm paying attention more to now what I eat. So I'm cutting back on that food. I'm trying to go eat more lean meat, like venison. In general.
Okay, what is venison? Like,
It's deer meat.
Okay.
It's
I think I asked you that already. I just wanted.
It's deer meat. It's really lean.
Okay.
Super lean. It's good. And
Do you ever have those moments where everyone's using this word to describe this certain thing, and you just have no idea what it is, but
that happens to me.
you're too scared to ask because it's been so long.
dude, man,
Like,
that was
like right now?
Yeah.
Like what is BMI?
yeah, like
Body mass
mass
index.
Body mass
Oh,
index, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
oh, come on, man. You're trying to go into physical therapy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I imagine Iverson sitting there is like, morbidly obese. What's that?
Nah,
Well,
I
basically,
got
this lady is 5'2" and she can't barely walk. That's
that. That's more obese.
which.
got
But what was I even talking about before you went on that? You were talking about how people use words and you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
That was me every single fucking day in engineering school, man.
Oh boy.
That was me every single day.
Oh man.
I don't even know how I passed biology 1 because I was a terrible student.
Yeah,
I was awful. And the worst part about it was after lunch, and they have these seats that lean back. They just lean back, and I fell asleep. I'm pretty sure I was caught snoring like 7 times in that class, but I was never kicked out. It's funny.
What did you take UAB here? Or UAB here? Did you take
yeah.
did you take biology here at UAB?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
And then I got into Orgo Chem, and at that point I was already working full time as like a stagehand.
Yeah.
Working late nights. And I just said, fuck it. I can't expect to keep up with, subjects and pre-med subjects when I'm getting home at 3, 4 in the morning, working 12 hours.
Man,
Like, I
that's
can't.
tough.
I can't. It is, but I mean, at the same time, there's some people who can do it. Not me. I'm not disciplined.
Yeah.
I'm not smart.
I think it's
I was
those
a bad
people.
student.
Oh,
Aren't
come
there
on.
some people that it's just encoded into their genetic makeup that they function better than other people with little sleep? I read that study, and it was like, people getting 4 to 5 hours of sleep, and they're maintaining the same level of health. It's not even like it's to the detriment. It's not like it's caffeine and it's just masking the fact that they're tired. Like literally all they need is like 3 to 4 less hours than the average person. Because I feel like, you have those people that are so quick to judge because, you don't get the full amount of sleep, but then because they get like 4 or 5 hours of sleep and they're perfectly fine.
I don't know very much about that. I mean, I do know that, people have different, people can be like on the spectrum of like maybe ADD or ADHD or have trouble focusing. I know that can be a big issue approaching studying for long periods of time.
This is going to sound weird, right? When I was in New York and I was doing those big 20, 18-hour sessions, I actually felt better from getting only 4 hours of sleep at night than I do.
I think the quality of sleep has a lot to do with it as well.
It wasn't very quality. I was sleeping on a couch or a floor, so I don't.
Yeah, but I mean,
quality.
If you have like sleep apnea, so I have sleep apnea for example, and even if I sleep like 10 to 11 hours, my quality of sleep is so terrible that I could have slept 4 to 5 hours. Like I end up just opting out and sleeping like 4 to 5 hours a night because my quality of sleep is so bad.
Yo, I got a question. How do we get from the obesity issue to like sleeping problems?
It's all health. It's all health.
I know it's
all health.
But damn it, we need to make fun of some people, man. We need to. There's this lady at this gas station, right? The gas station near where I live. She's always complaining about her life. Always complaining. She's a big fat girl, and she's like, "Oh, everything's so hard. I gotta work 4 hours, 5 hours today. Oh my God." I'm like, dude, the fuck? It was like, I don't know what else to say.
You just say that in front of her?
No, it's the epitome. What I'm trying to say is it's the epitome of you're in a rough spot and you're not doing anything about it. You're constantly doing the same shit over and over. Like after work, you're probably not trying to be healthy. Like I could tell you this lady does not have a gym membership plan or go running or go walk her dogs.
Dang.
But I'm saying, well, I know.
Han's coming with the heat tonight.
Yeah.
I'm trying to spice things up. And like I know I'm not exactly healthy. I'm big, but at least I'm trying to do something about it, man.
He's right the whole time to talk.
So would you be okay with her complaining about it if she was taking measures to, make her life better?
I know I could tell you this for sure. If she was doing it, she wouldn't be complaining because
I don't know about
because
that.
Because I feel like exercise it does something with your mind. It makes you feel better.
It does. I mean, it releases endorphins.
It's a place for you. It's a place for you to release all your stress.
But I think that there's usefulness to complaining and just bitching. The same reason,
I can agree to that.
If you get hurt, it's been proven that if you just scream fuck whenever you get hurt,
that's just pure anger.
The pain actually subsides. Like the actual amount of pain, that they can track via, imaging technology actually subsides whenever you curse very loudly.
Let me look this up.
I mean, it could serve as a distraction, maybe.
Yeah, But I actually do think,
So it's kind of like when your finger gets sliced. This is a bit extreme. When your finger gets sliced, you're not going to feel it after you cut off your other hand. And that way, it's kind of like you're focusing on something else. That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't understand really, the neurology about it, but it's not like it's not like you're distracting yourself from the pain. I think it's just a way of relieving yourself.
Is it kind of like when you ride a roller coaster and you scream when it goes like down?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't scream on a roller coaster, I don't want to know you. I don't even know what kind of person doesn't scream.
I don't scream on roller coasters.
Yeah, you're full of shit.
Not do I, because I'm scared of roller coasters. I'm scared.
I don't scream. I just enjoy the ride. But I guess the reason why I feel that way is because, I don't know.
With the lady?
Old school. Yeah, I'm just like old school immigrant mentality. It's like, the way my parents are, it's like, if you broke your arm, yeah, we'll help you. But if you're feeling sad, they'll be like, get the fuck over it. Come help me with this yard. Come help me cook. Because, I don't know, that's just like, they're just different people, man. It's a whole different breed.
I can understand where you're coming from.
This is why not a lot of people like me, Mario. So.
I mean, at the end of the day, what I would say is that this lady, right, we don't know what she's doing. Maybe there's an education barrier there, and maybe she thinks, okay, I'm walking 10 to 15 minutes on a treadmill. Maybe that makes it okay that I can go to Wendy's, more often, or maybe get these cheaper, higher fat, more calorically dense alternative foods. And that's why I think a portion of the issue with the obesity issue in America is education. Kind of backing off what you were saying, or banking, that's what I was looking for. Banking off what you were saying with the lower class, I think education is a big thing.
Yeah.
Because even, even me being in medical school and, we're learning a lot of information, what is considered healthy, that's not black and white, because it really depends on a lot of factors.
Yeah.
Everybody's different.
What is healthy? Is it calorically less dense or more dense? Micronutrients?
It's unique to every person. Your dietary requirements are unique to every person. For example, some bodybuilders, like natural bodybuilders, they're not shooting up anything.
I see a lot of those.
They can like some of them they can eat maybe 100 grams of protein a day and still be actively, in a lean mass like a lean mass phase. And that goes against everything, that you are told whenever you're, getting into fitness, is that you need to eat, I think it's one gram of protein per body weight or per, it
really
differs.
depends.
It differs from there. It's either 1 gram per body weight, 1 gram per lean mass, like what have you. Anyways, this man's 200 pounds eating, half of what he should be, but it's working for him. So nutrition is very, very, very unique to each person.
It is. And it's really interesting because one of the major themes I've learned the more I learn about medicine is just how different everyone is. Like how everyone responds to caffeine, for example. Me, I like the effects of caffeine. I have caffeine. I feel more energetic. I feel like I can focus more. Meanwhile, I have another friend of mine who he will have 200 milligrams of caffeine, like a pre-workout or 2 cups of coffee. And he can go to sleep. It's not an issue.
I think what I was trying to go at was it's a mental thing. That's what I was going at. I know everyone's different body-wise, and everyone's made different. I'm just talking about mentality-wise.
Okay, so it upsets you that she complains, and it looks like she's not doing very much about it. That's what.
Come on, Mario. Let me make fun of people. Come on, man.
You just shit on him.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm glad I have 3 very well-educated people around me.
You better be
I
careful.
just scream some of the most ignorant shit.
You better be
in the
careful
world.
about what you say on us, kiddo.
Why? Why? What are you gonna do about it, Erik?
Just hit you with the hard, cold facts.
Hard,
bro.
cold facts.
I don't judge.
Yeah, I'm entitled to my own opinion. Everyone's different, Erik. What happened to that?
You can have your opinion, but you can't have your own facts, my friend.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use that.
Ooh, I don't know. I think our current president would disagree with that.
Shit.
I'm gonna.
Did y'all see that mini protest outside Hill Center? Erik, you saw it.
No, wait, outside Hill Center.
Outside the Hill Center.
Oh,
was it,
the
people standing in front of the Hill Center.
Yeah, it was them, and it was it was some crazy dude with a sign. He was saying, "Death to all gold diggers, hip hoppers."
Whoa,
Yo,
it was
gold diggers and hip hoppers.
Straight up.
the only thing I agree with him is gold diggers, they can go to hell, but everything else he was a little bit crazy.
Hip hoppers? Is he trying to circumvent black people are going? Is that a thing? Is that what he's trying to do?
I think that's what he was
Hip
trying
hoppers, gold
Hip
diggers.
hoppers? I didn't even know that it could be used
Man,
I didn't
know
hilarious.
you
use it
in plural like that. What?
I've never
Is
heard
that-
that hip hoppers.
What is a
man.
hip hopper?
Man, imagine if I worked this session. I was like, "Is this? Are you a hip hopper?" I get fucking shot. I get beat
Oh my
the shit
God.
out of it if
Can I
said
be a
that.
hip hopper? I'd like to be a hip hopper.
You like to be a hip hop?
I like rap. So.
God, what was I trying to say about that? No, I just found it funny.
It was incredibly funny.
I found both sides funny because they were starting to. I think I was trying to bounce off the Trump
I
thing.
just-
They were trying to say they were just he pulled Trump into this for no reason. Dude, Trump has nothing to do with this fucking mongoloid sitting out here screaming some bullshit.
This basic ass troglodyte.
This dude who probably dropped out at 3rd grade. He has nothing to do with that.
Actually,
and think,
a lot of ignorant people are they should know better because they tend, some of them are pretty well educated. They just, for some reason,
It's that hate, man.
it's that hate.
It's the hate.
It's a hate.
Bitches be
Yeah.
hating, man.
Hate or maybe misunderstanding or lack of
I think it's like
experience.
I think it's lack of empathy. I think that they live in this bubble where everyone that that they surround themselves with is more or less of the same frame of mind, and because of that, they're unable to connect with other people and see why other people may see it a different way.
I can definitely agree with that. Although I don't know if it's exactly empathy, but maybe I think there are people that just don't they don't have that experience. They don't
yeah.
know about.
I'm talking
this or
about
that.
just general people. There are some
Okay.
people that just are kind of stupid.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of stupid people here on campus.
Oh, okay,
Hamburger.
calm down.
Whoa,
No,
whoa.
I ain't talking about you two. You two are. I'm not talking about you three
Okay.
because you three are obviously very educated, and y'all
appreciate
can back up your facts. Y'all don't just scream random shit like me.
I don't think that a lot of people that bring up Trump even when he's not mentioned like people trying to connect that intolerant guy saying some stuff about hip hoppers and whatnot. I don't think that
Hip-hoppers.
they're intentionally connecting him to Trump. I think that it's just a way. It's just maybe like a vessel to relieve themselves of.
So it's like their punching bag.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of what a president is, right? It's like the face of a country.
It is.
But then he's kind of like our punching bag. We can blame it on him.
Yeah, but I mean,
because it happened. It not only happened with Trump. It happened with Obama. It happened with
it
Bush.
happens. It happens with
everyone.
everyone. It happens with
Yeah.
It
everyone.
happens with everyone, man.
But like, this is kind of the first time we've had somebody retaliate like this man has.
Oh yeah, like he is retaliating. I will tell you that
Reta-
because we talked about this. He started off as pretty Democratic, and then I think he just became Republican out of spite.
He
He was like, I was like, fuck you guys.
because he funded the Clinton campaign.
So actually, if you look at his policy decisions, his statements, everything that just comes out of this man's mouth, if you analyze it in comparison to other, past presidents and the current climate, he's actually more liberal and less libertarian than Hillary Clinton.
Interesting.
And a lot of people like they just they don't want to accept that. And
We're good. All right.
so I had a history teacher, and she's the one that actually pointed me towards this thing that allows you to analyze these presidents. She was a huge history buff, and I think she taught me the end of world history, like the second half of world history. And she was a very, very outspoken Republican libertarian. And, she at times showed praise for Trump, and she wasn't scared to, voice her opinions. And then she showed me, she went during one of the lectures, she gave this example about this kind of spectrum of being being on the left and being on the right, and also, being like a libertarian and being an authoritarian. Left meaning, Democratic, and then right being, Republican. And she, her lecture was awesome. She was an awesome teacher. But then I kept looking at, on the very same page that she showed me where all this research was, I saw that Trump was, all of these things that supposedly he's not. And she just outright denied it. And I've never seen anything like that. I was like, you were just telling me that this is a great resource to analyze these presidents, but you believe, you're so entrenched in your own views that you, even as an educator, can't, look at the cold hard facts that this man is more of an authoritarian than Hillary Clinton, and less Republican by that matter too.
Politics.
When I said that, and she was like,
politics.
"Oh, that's wrong." She completely shut me down and wouldn't listen to me.
Because I don't think.
So I stopped coming to class after that. I showed up for tests, and I was like, "Listen, bitch, I'm just here to take these tests."
Man, I just don't think people. I don't think people are that open minded.
They're not, and
No,
it's.
no.
I thought she would be really open minded because she was, she wasn't old. She was pretty good looking. I figured that she would be, more willing to listen to reason, but.
What does good looking have to do with anything?
Because when you don't feel good about yourself, you could tell that this lady felt good about herself because she dressed well, she, wore a lot of jewelry. When you don't feel good about yourself, you don't feel good about anything. And that's kind of,
have you ever seen what Joey Diaz looks like?
I have no idea
A
who that is.
420-pound Cuban. I bet he feels good about himself. So I don't.
Well,
I don't know.
he,
It's another.
he either has hella bitches or hella money, because that's the only way that 420 pounds.
He lives an amazing. Well, he lives a great life, man.
Actually,
you should look him up.
I shouldn't say that, because self-confidence comes from a lot of different.
It comes from many different things, but last thing I'll say on Joey Diaz is, I think he was like a cocaine addict for 20, 30 years, and he's hilarious. He's one of my favorite. He's one of my favorite comedians to listen to.
I think some of my favorite people used to be like ex-drug addicts, like Robert Downey Jr.
Some of the most interesting people were former drug addicts or drug dealers.
Yeah.
One of the best rappers I worked with, one of my favorite ones to work with, he was a local guy. He was, I'm pretty sure he was in a gang around here. I'm pretty sure. But
what you know about that life?
But he's in nursing school now.
What a turnaround for this man.
He's a champ.
Okay.
He was very intelligent, and I could tell he was he definitely wanted to put it behind, because he wasn't talking about it.
Yeah.
He only talked about it when he was rapping. He didn't try to show off or anything.
I think we should be very careful about, because we have this such a negative, stigma associated with gangs and stuff, but I think what's often overlooked is, I know I make everything too serious, don't I?
Yeah, you do. You're pretty boring. I'm never inviting you again.
What I think is, like, the lifestyle that, has to, that person has to experience in order to push them to that,
Well, you know why gangs are a thing, right? It's, to me, concept-wise, it's the same as like a fraternity, a sorority, a football team.
I can agree with that.
I think that it's no better. Yeah, exactly. I think that they're on par. It's just this cult culture.
Yeah, what other option is there? Right, your family members are doing it, your friends are doing it.
It's a place.
So you're going to do it naturally.
Yeah, it's a place where people can find people that relate to each other.
It's just natural human behavior. You seek others that that you share qualities with.
And humans need human interaction to survive. I think that's part of the
Isn't that
one of five things.
What is that called? You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm referencing. It's like it's like the what are the 4 or 5 basic things that like human needs?
It's like food, it's water,
it's shelter, substance.
I know
what you're talking about, because I was about to talk about it, because you could have everything like shelter, substance, oxygen, whatever, but if you don't have people, you're gonna go insane. And that is also linked to why that's linked to a lot of depression, because they feel like they're on their own. A lot of people feel like they're on their own. They're looking at social media. They think like, wow, this guy has a great life. When in reality, they're not living a great life. They're probably normal.
I think social media in general is kind of a farce. It is. It's so fake. A good example of this is, I used to watch. Well, I still watch this kid. It's this YouTuber called Adam LZ, and he has. Do you know of him?
Yeah.
So he's gotten big on YouTube. Well, he initially got big because he was really into BMX. So everyone into BMX knew who Adam LZ was. But then he got into cars. So then the car scene kind of followed him, so he got even bigger because he would have all these crazy builds. He started drifting, and just people like to live vicariously through other people on YouTube, and he kind of fit that mold really well. Anyways, he kind of had a very, very almost like fairy tale like wedding with him and his wife, and then recently it came out that him and his wife had actually split up, and you would have never thought that they would have just come apart like that, because they were kind of perfect for each other. So I think social media as a whole is kind of, it's so fake. It's just to say that
it is, and it's bad for people who might not have the mental fortitude.
It is.
Because when they're down and they see other people might be quote unquote living it up, they feel like shit, man. They feel like, wow, I'm destined to be a loser for the rest of my life.
Well, I mean, when I see people like being successful on social media, it makes me want to be better, actually.
Right, but
like,
there's some people who
just
there's
opposite.
There's some people who fall into a slump, like the gas station lady I was talking about.
He wasn't done talking about her. He wasn't done.
Well, I'm done now, because I don't think she's gonna watch it, but it's gonna be real awkward. No. It's gonna be real awkward when I go there.
Did she see you? Did she know you? Did she see you?
I mean, yeah, I'm the only Asian guy who walks in and out of that gas station. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Sure, She ain't gonna do shit. We're fine. But Iverson, not a lot of people people are motivated or get motivated like that. Me, I get motivated by that because when I was a early childhood, when we were broke, and my mom started becoming really successful, not only in real estate, but she graduated from pharmacy school. She went from like busting her ass, working full time, taking care of me, and going to school full time. Just see that. To me, that motivates me.
That's a huge come up.
And I think that's why that has a lot to do with my mental fortitude when compared to other people who have not been so fortunate, if that makes sense. Yeah. Because they really feel like that's what they're destined to be, and that's where they are, and they can't get out of it.
Yeah, but social media is also entertaining, man.
It is entertaining.
To look at, what like I follow like World Star on Instagram, right?
Dude, that's the most cancerous.
That's the most cancerous
thing you can look at.
Man, I follow World Star. It's great. I want to know what Kodak's doing, or what's going on with like
why did
these
Kodak
rappers and
gain
stuff.
all this weight?
I think it was when he went to prison, right?
Yeah. Usually people come out of prison swole as fuck.
Because you get fed. You get fed very well. That's why people get larger in prison. You get fed very well, and what are you gonna do? You're gonna either sit in your cell or you're gonna work out. So either they'll gain fat, or they'll gain maybe some fat and muscle working out. But all you gotta do is eat. All you can do is eat, lounge around, or work out.
Yeah, I think that you go into the survival instinct, and that's why I think a lot of inmates end up being swole. Because
I think we found the cure to America's obesity problem.
Just send everyone to prison.
Send them all to prison. Fuck it. Send them all to prison. You either go work out or Tyrone's gonna kill you.
like a summer camp or something.
Summer camp.
Oh my goodness.
Yo, that reminds me. What's that show? Scared Straight, where they send Beyond Scared Straight, where they
that's
send
a
the
meme
kids.
show, dude.
That's
It is a meme
hilarious.
show.
It's just a bunch
watch.
of kids. I don't understand the whole premise behind that show, because they get all these hard ass kids that just don't give a fuck about anything, and they know they're not going to actually get hurt or go to prison. So I don't understand.
What are you here for, Timmy? Oh, I stole some bikes. Bikes! I stole some bikes, Timmy.
I stabbed 3 men.
But then like the people that like they actually meet in prison are like there for like possession of marijuana or something, and this kid over here is like robbing people at gunpoint. Like are you really gonna scare this kid?
Yeah.
It is very entertaining to watch, though.
It is very entertaining.
I actually haven't even seen.
It's very entertaining to see suffering of others.
Damn.
It's true. That's why World
kinda
Star is
deep.
very popular, and that's why
is.
TLC. That's why TLC.
Why
is
is any fighting show ever popular? Like it's so brutal. Like
Oh, it's
MMA,
awesome, dude. Watching Conor McGregor
Just-
fight and
and Khabib
Man.
jumping over the ring.
But it's so primitive, though. Like,
Exactly. Because like, how many people out there?
I don't think we're any better than troglodytes, dude.
Okay, dude. How about this? We watch all
Might
these
as well.
violent movies and stuff. Like, I bet people out there kind of fantasize like getting in fights. They're like, oh, dude, wouldn't it be kind of cool if like me and this dude, I knocked this guy out or something? Like,
I think
we
we're just
fight and
animals,
it's
dude.
cool.
Basically, any Quentin Tarantino film.
Yeah.
That's why everyone loves him.
Yeah,
It's so violent.
I
It's
think
so
it is
brutal.
primal. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But in reality, no one really wants to get in a fight, because even if you win, you're gonna get hit.
I don't know,
and
dude.
it's gonna
I
hurt.
have these
Yeah.
urges sometimes that like
It's hurt sometimes.
you just want to kick somebody's ass.
Well, dude,
Wait. I have a question. Why do you feel that way? Is it because Mario? Do you have a girlfriend?
I do.
You do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that completely ruins my argument, because I was gonna say you have someone to keep you in check, or someone who's kind of your anchor.
I don't know
As to
about
what-
that,
why are
because
you so
like
angry?
Regina, I have like if anything, I'm her anchor, because my girlfriend Regina, more often than not, she's the one that says,
Oh, she's the one with the violent tendencies. You catch her watching some Django Unchained, and she's all the same.
You want to know why I don't want to get in a fight?
Why?
Because I already had my front tooth knocked out. I'm gonna take. This is a podcast, so they can't see, but I have a plastic retainer. Okay.
so you're
I
too
take
pretty
this
is
out.
what you're saying.
I've seen it before.
Yeah.
Wow, you got it knocked out.
I think
man.
it's kind of
Yeah.
cute.
So, my girlfriend thinks the same somehow. Anyway, so yeah, I was playing basketball, and this dude was like trying to back me up. He was like shorter than me. He accidentally headbutted me. He bent like 3 of my teeth back.
What?
And
This man.
obviously there was breaking up in here where the root goes in the maxilla, and apparently the way that the root broke, I believe it shattered like vertically up in the root up in here,
Yeah.
and because of that, it couldn't heal, so I had to go in there. But it bent my teeth back. I didn't just like knock it out. So I had to go into surgery, and the oral maxillofacial surgeon came in and like bent them all, like put them all back.
Just got some pliers.
Yeah, basically.
Went to town with
Basically,
it.
actually.
Dude.
And then eventually they couldn't save it, so they went back in and took out the pieces. And yeah,
That's
I'm actually currently getting an implant here at UAB's dental school.
And that came from somebody falling on you, or that came from
he
you
headbutted
fighting?
me on accident. He didn't mean to. He headbutted me.
Do you
on
talk to
accident.
this man?
So was that a fight where someone accidentally headbutted you? That's a weird technique.
It's well, my original point was that since this happened, like I definitely don't want to get in a fight. I can't
Yeah,
get punched right now. I am missing one of my teeth.
I think that's more of a
I can't
fear.
let this happen.
I feel you,
Personal fear.
man. God, you know what kind of fighters scare me the most? Muay Thai fighters, because they use elbows and knees.
Yeah, just
And if you feel your
Yeah.
elbow, that's a lot of bone.
Yeah.
Right, like the tip of the elbow.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Olecranon process. I'm
and,
sorry.
And heels will fuck you up, man. They will. But anyways, what were you saying, Eric? Before we went
I don't
on this
even know what
tangent?
we were talking about.
We were talking about why you think we're all violent troglodytes.
Oh.
It's just
Primitive.
Yeah, we're
This
primitive.
fight
dude.
is,
We're-
we have
we're a bunch-
androgens in our system. We have testosterone.
Yeah, we're just
The
a
only
bunch
thing
of
that's
animals.
we're no better than cavemen. We just
we're
have fancy tools now.
We just wear clothes, have fancy tools.
Actually, since you just said we're no better than cavemen, I just want to get another opinion out there about the obesity problem. I don't think there's gonna be a cure.
going back to this.
Well, okay, because I don't think it's gonna be a cure. Is because I think one of the main causes is how easy it is to get food. Right? When we were cavemen, we had to hunt. If
Yeah.
we couldn't hunt, maybe we're eating these plants that we can't even really digest because
Yeah.
we were eating these. We eating some nuts and some fruits, and then occasionally, someone like killed this buffalo or something. Oh yeah, we have food and stuff. We go from that to here, man. I walk 30 seconds.
It was a whole
get some chicken
transition
nuggets.
of shifting from a mostly like hunter-gatherer society to a agrarian society that really kind of dicked us.
Yeah, I mean, just to bounce off your point of how easy it is to survive, here's a funny thought. You can drink, if you need to go drink water, you can drink it from the same place you take a shit. That's how easy it is.
Yeah,
Even though you don't need to do that.
Life's
That's an option.
a lot better now. But yeah, man, it's so easy to get food and all these calories. And in reality, we only need. It really depends on the person, their metabolism. But there are people like you only need like, oh man, not like maybe 1,500. Not even you don't need 2,000 calories to survive. Maybe like 1,500, maybe even less than that.
Yeah.
And
In most cases, I mean, we kind of have an induced accelerated metabolic capacity where we're just, increasing the amount of calories that we can uptake.
And your body basically starts to run off that. So
Yeah,
if you start,
it actually speeds up your aging process as well. So there's been a lot of studies where, the calories for mice, for example, had been cut, and it actually increased their life expectancy anywhere from like 30 to 40%. Because like your metabolic rate is essentially what dictates how old you get to an extent.
So let's get off this obesity issue since
Alright.
we keep
Yeah,
coming back.
Mario.
I'm sorry.
Since we
Hey,
keep jumping
man.
back to
Hey,
it.
man.
Fat people, but damn.
my past. Whoa.
Hey, man. Actually, yeah, we can make fun of him. What were you saying? Were y'all saying anything? No.
I don't fat shame. I don't fat shame.
I mean, I don't need that.
I mean, I don't either. I just complain shame. That's what I do.
Complain shame.
That's what I do. Eric, tell us about your field, man. Civil engineering,
So I'm actually an applied physics major.
applied physics.
So I haven't been in engineering for 2 years. So it shows you how good of a friend you are on.
Yeah, coming from the person who didn't talk to me for 4 years after high school, right?
You were the
We're
one.
digging deep, bro.
I can tell.
I made an attempt to reach out to you.
No, you didn't.
And attempt.
Fight.
I mean,
attempt.
I don't know really what I can say about it that would be.
Well, what are you trying to? What
Well,
are you trying
okay.
to get into?
As someone who's in medicine, let's say, I don't know anything about engineering or let's say applied physics. I think I know like
Can we
force
can we
equals
distinguish the two?
acceleration.
Let's not. Let's,
Okay,
let's
okay, I
not lump them
apologize.
together.
What does it mean applied physics other than force equals mass times acceleration? I think.
So most of physics that you learn as an undergrad, it's mostly all Newtonian physics. So it's your basic, classical physics, like force equals mass times acceleration. Like the change of velocity with respect to time is acceleration and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And those are kind of useless, honestly, because
oh crap! I have to memorize that.
Currently, you don't even. Well, you shouldn't have memorized that. You should have just known it inherently, just based on derivation.
No, this is America. Okay, we're pretty stupid. So anyway, continue.
Right. Most of the stuff now, it's mostly computational physics. Unfortunately, because I'm not great at it.
What's computational physics?
Yeah.
It's just, the way that an image is made is essentially by your computer. It's a bunch of 2x2 matrices. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you're familiar with linear algebra. So it's not even, very complicated, but, most of coding and just image process, any sort of processing is just, a bunch of basic math, but just done several times.
Okay.
That's basically, the general gist of, computing things. But an interesting thing is, because I'm taking this class called Nanoscale Science and Application, and I'm having to make an actual lecture about the uses of, nanoscale iron oxides and their usefulness in, medicine, or how are they useful in general. And one really interesting thing that actually relates to medicine is, so they're suspending these nano iron oxides in an oil, essentially, and creating like a ferrofluid. Do you know what ferrofluid is? It's that really cool fluid that like you add a magnetic field around it, and then it gets all spiky,
bubbly and spiky.
Yeah, it's like venom, essentially. It's really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
So they're actually using this stuff to inject into patients, and the concentrations of iron are so low that they're not harmful to the patient. Mm-hmm. And they inject them into patients and then guide them via electromagnetic fields into cancer regions and tumors and stuff. Yeah. And then they apply enough whether whatever field is required to reach a certain intensity, and to the point where they start heating up the surrounding tissue. And a really convenient thing about cancer tissue is that it's much more susceptible to heat than normal tissue, so it ends up dying faster.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cancer cells are really well vascularized, so it's really easy for things moving in the blood to get there. So that's
So I mean, you're kind of using some of the key characteristics of cancer cells, against them. So there's just interesting things like that. I mean, really kind of physics in general kind of encompasses everything that you see around you. Everything that you see around you is in one shape, way or form due to, general relativity or some sort of like physics and stuff.
So what kind of field are you trying to get into?
So I want to get into renewable energy sources. Mm-hmm. So in order to do that, I feel like, let me backtrack a little bit. So previously, fields like engineering, even math, biology, chemistry, physics, all of them were, their own fields. But, the farther along we go, the more we're kind of interconnecting and things are more interdisciplinary than we previously thought. So it doesn't really matter that I'm an applied physics major or that Mario's medicine, because we could end up in the same place. Like I can, awesome. I could continue being an applied physics major and I would, get into med school, and all I would have different than Mario is, he would come to it, with a certain frame of mind, like because you've had experiences unique to you because of how you chose to get there. And then being an applied physics major, it kind of gives you a different outlook. So what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't really matter what you major in as far as, your STEM courses.
Right.
Because everything is so interconnected. That being said, though, I have taken a bunch of biology courses. So I essentially have a minor in biology and a minor in chemistry by the end of it. Because I feel like with renewable energy sources and, the way things are headed, you kind of need to pull information from all of these different disciplines in order to be well-rounded and really understand what you're doing.
Because I think companies are starting to want more from their employees.
I think so too. One of the reasons that I didn't want to be an engineer is because you're essentially made obsolete, within the first decade of your employment.
What makes you say that?
Because my engineering professor said it for one.
Really?
And I've kind of have seen it. Yeah. So what happens is, you know, when you graduate, you know, mechanical engineering, for example, you get a job and you have all this knowledge because your knowledge of whatever subject is the most concurrent that there is. But because technology is advancing so quick that, you know, unless you keep up with the pace or you move up to like a higher level management position, you're going to be displaced by, you know, incoming graduates. So
right, just because they're more up to date.
Exactly. So you're kind of made obsolete very quickly unless you pursue something like higher management. So that's kind of the fate of engineers. Also, a lot of engineers end up being kind of like glorified phone technicians. Like I have a friend who graduated from Texas, and he graduated with a degree in math, a degree in physics, and a degree in, I think, engineering.
That's a lot of degrees.
Yeah. So like, I mean, it was because his program there, you know, he went to school for like 6 years. A year of that was like while he was in high school. I think he did. I don't know what that thing is called. Whenever you can take college classes while you're in high school to get some of those credits out of the way. Not AP specifically.
I know what you're talking about.
Co-ed or something?
Yeah, something like that. The point is,
dual enrollment.
yeah. So I mean, he was literally working as a glorified phone technician. Like those are his literal words. And I've seen a lot of interviews with other engineers, and they end up doing something like that. They may not be so quick to admit it, but I think that, you know, it's not. The market is super saturated with engineers for one thing, and then a lot of them just end up doing these kind of. The processes are already in place. You're not there. Like companies don't want you to develop anything more. They want you there to keep, you know, things in check.
To keep the process going.
Exactly.
Basically.
And I just couldn't want that future for myself, honestly.
No,
I'd rather
I feel
fail,
you know,
trying to do something else than.
I think that's why so many people try to be quote unquote entrepreneurs, or they try to do different things. Why so many people try to be rappers, right? Because they want to. There's something about it. Like they'll go through the suffering, they'll go through long nights, but there's just something about making your own money or making sure that you're in control of your own fate.
The suffering is different.
Right. And just being in control of your own fate.
Yeah.
And
if you
that's
shoot
what
for the
they're
stars,
after.
you may land on the moon. Like, you know, like you don't know, you know, where life is going to take you until, you know, you take those risky decisions or you make those risky decisions.
Now that being said, I mean,
don't be stupid,
you were saying,
but
Yeah.
now that being said, though, about how some engineers are ending up in, you know,
I'm not talking shit about engineers. by the
No,
way.
of course, no.
I'm just kind of jaded about it.
No, it's okay. I'm jaded too.
Yeah.
I mean, have you heard some of the shit I said on this episode already? But that brings me to the next
I just think
question.
that you have to be very focused and very driven and have like a specific plan to, you know, succeed as an engineer, or you're just okay with mediocrity
or anything like. Yeah, that's another thing. Do you think?
Yeah, because let me say something real quick, because I think that there is, you know, there's two ways to be happy. There you can either get a job in which you just love, and you make it, you know, and you make it, the actual money that you make off of that job, if you really, really love it, is kind of less important at that point. And then if you do make a good amount of money, then, you know, that's just a bonus. Or you can get a job that's sustainable and kind of gives you financial security. So then you can then do the things that you want to do. So you may not love the job, but you know, you're given the money and the resources to do the things that you want that do make you happy.
I think a lot of people are going that route.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they both you end up happy either way.
That must suck to be in an interview for taking a job you know you just don't want. It's like they'll be like, how loyal are you to the company? It's
Yeah,
like,
I hate interviews like that. Like, why do you want this position over? You know, why should we pick you over? Because like, I need a fucking job. That's for one.
Like,
I don't plan on, you know, I hate, you know, especially whenever like, you know, I would work at retail. Like they would make it such a huge deal. Like this was going to be like where I end up for the rest of my life. Like, are you committed to us for the rest of your life?
Walmart.
I'm like, no, I'm here to
Walmart
make a
was
quick
like
buck and get out.
when I worked as a pharmacist tech, Walmart was like that. Like,
God.
are you committed to here? I was like,
Such high expectations,
fuck
and
no.
they know because their turnover rate is so high. Sometimes they don't even bother, like actually, you know, they don't even bother, you know, instructing the new employees or giving them guidance because they know that they're going to be gone so quick. It's just like, you know,
right. But I mean, it's a menial job. I mean, it's a job. It's one of those jobs that you're supposed to start with and move on.
Yeah.
It's not. It's definitely not one of those jobs that you're supposed to stay at and retire at 60, making $9.50 an hour. That's not.
Man.
That Walmart is not
That's
that kind
rough.
of job. It is pretty rough. But what am I saying? What was I saying before we went on that rant?
Engineering.
Yes, you were saying
Engineering is
You had
incredibly useful.
It is.
I'm so thankful that we have engineers. We have a lot of smart engineers.
We do.
It's just not for me. I think that
not for me either.
applied physics is just physics in general is just more useful because you can even if you don't make it even if I don't make it into a graduate program or even if I don't have some sort of very specific niche that I can fill, I can work as an engineer. That's kind of the beauty of it, that I'm not necessarily tied to doing just that because disciplines are so interconnected.
So because engineers, what you were saying, because a lot of engineers, they get stuck into kind of like jobs that just focus on the process rather than expanding. Because not everyone, there's not a Silicon Valley.
Yeah,
everywhere.
not everyone can be in Elon Musk. Like,
Of course not.
Yeah.
But do you think when do you think companies will start? When do you think companies that are more technology based will stop caring about the degree so much and go more skill focused? Because a lot of companies nowadays, they're so skill focused, and most companies, they don't give
it
a
actually
fuck about
sucks.
the degree.
It's just that everyone's pushed to go to college, so it's like you're required a degree above anything else, above your character, above your work, above your you as an individual, because that it's almost like that degree defines you. And it's really sad that is the reality of things. But I don't know. I think that startup companies, companies with younger employees, I think that they're more likely to accept people that don't have a paper with them, essentially saying that, oh, I can do this, and pay more attention to their character and what they can do. And I think that Elon Musk is actually a good example of that, because he said on countless times that he could care less what you majored in or whether you went to college. Like, he cares more about what you can do. Like, it's a degree from Harvard or going and getting a PhD and et cetera. They're not indicators that that person's capable of something great. Like,
Well, a lot of big companies, they're still run by like really old school baby boomers.
Yep.
Who didn't save money.
You're just another number to them. They're like, how can I make money off of this person?
Yeah, my parents are guilty of this, right? They're used to, because my parents are old school. They see a degree like that defines you, and that's not necessarily the case, because nowadays because the game they grew up in, the degree was special. The degree meant that you achieved something through school, and that was the only way you're going to get a good job. Nowadays, it's now more skill focused, because the college degree, in my opinion, it's one of, if not the most oversaturated product on the market, because just the degree alone, right? Let's not pull character, extracurriculars, side hustle into this. Let's say the degree, anyone can get a bachelor's. You get it, and getting a
C's get
bachelor,
degrees,
right?
as unfortunate as it is.
But sometimes it's crazy, because the people running the companies are C students or dropouts.
Yeah.
And then that's a whole nother debate. But what I was saying is the bachelor degree, anyone can get it, right?
Yeah.
Whether you make a C, whether you just did drugs all the time in school, or whether you were the hardworking student, just the bachelor's degree. That's all.
Yeah.
So what I'm starting to notice is a lot more companies and med schools like this too, where they're starting to look less at the GPA and more. GPA is still important, right? But they're encouraging,
I think Orange is dogging on your
Personality.
GPA, dude.
but they're starting to pay attention to what else do you do? They're
Your
more
interviewing
interested in
skills.
Yeah, that's very true. Because the number one complaint right now with doctors, or what's often complained about, is that they seem to maybe not connect or care about the patient. They're very quick with the patient, and they tend to just not really be nice.
Tell us again about the doctor you're shadowing under that just completely roasted the
Oh,
lady.
no. Okay. I'm not currently. This was in the past. This was one of the many things that you have to do if you want to get into medical school, unless you just completely destroy the MCAT. But otherwise, yes, as you said, to get into medical school, there were some things I had to do to make me more competitive. Having a good GPA, very important. MCAT, which is the entrance exam to medical school, is really important. But you also need shadowing hours.
Right.
Because honestly, I thought I knew what a doctor did, and then I shadowed, and it turns out that House, in Grey's Anatomy is fun to watch, but there's a lot more to being a doctor than just that. So shadowing is important. They want to see you well-rounded, so you should do some volunteering as well, and some leadership roles, because as a physician, you're supposed to be the leader of the team, and this team could include the physician's assistant, the PAs, the nurse practitioners, the registered nurses, so the PTs. But yeah,
Would you say it's a lot more team oriented than
it is. It's a lot more than I thought it would be, and I'm very happy for it.
Yeah,
because
so it's important not to be a dick.
Yeah, because there's this misconception that doctors, it's hard to get into medical school, so therefore doctors are smarter than nurses or PAs. And I think that's a big misconception.
The hierarchy of things. I hate that.
It's unfortunately, and you talk to some physicians, and they'll say, "Oh, I don't see that. I don't like knowledge."
But they're lying straight to their teeth.
But it's true. I've seen it with my own eyes. What you asked me to talk about was a doctor I shadowed.
But before you go into that, going into the hierarchy thing, I actually heard stories. There's different nurses, right? There's RNs, registered nurses, and then there's LPNs, the ones that go through the 2-year program. And I had a friend who started as an LPN, right? And she told me like a ton of stories about how much shit she would get from the RNs, to the point where it kind of felt like the RNs were just shoving all their work on the LPNs. Now, that's just what I was told. I don't know if that's true or not, but that kind of your whole speech about the hierarchy thing kind of reminded me of that, where it's like they look down on the LPNs.
Yeah, it's a big misconception, because I believe it originated because medical school, it's one of the longer routes. It's the more competitive route. It stems from, if you look at what let's say nurses learn, RNs learn, NPs learn, PAs and MDs or DOs. You look at what they're learning in class, and you look at the detail they're learning. And that's where you find the differences. Because the whole idea of the hierarchy and doctors being on top is because we are supposed to be learning everything that science knows at this point. Like, a lot of the medical school professors are not MDs. A lot of them are PhDs. These are people that are either leading the field in this kind of research, or if not leading it, that's their job. They're doing this kind of research. They're an expert in this subject, and that's what they're teaching us. So the source of the whole hierarchy is that the physicians are learning all the detail. Like, what are these cytokines? These little peptides, these little proteins that are used to communicate between these cells. Meanwhile, you go down, and the nurses, that's less important. The nurses, it's more important to learn about, what's going on with the diseases, anatomy, physiology, what drugs you're going to use. But yeah, so it's the detail, but it's a misconception.
Yeah.
Because I know people that have been accepted into multiple medical schools and decided, I don't want to be in education that long, because medical school is 4 years, and then you have to apply for a residency. It's not guaranteed. You have to apply for a residency, and that is at least 3 years. Could be 4, could be 5. And you want to specialize, that's another 2-3 years. I know people that have gotten into medical school, they've been accepted to a few of them, and decided, no, I'm not ready for that commitment. That's not me. I'm going to go to PA school, because it's 2 years in a semester, I believe. It's much faster. That's less debt. It's less schooling that you have to do. less. Well, yeah. The PA school is pretty rapid.
I don't think that you're a good indicator of whether something is stressful because as long as I've known you, I don't think I've ever seen you very stressed.
You're a pretty happy medical student compared to some people in my family who are some of the most depressed people I've ever seen. Like you know every age. Well, I'm the black sheep, but a lot of Asians they get forced into this shit. Like kind of like how they get forced to play piano or violin at 5. And they just fucking hate it.
Yeah.
They hate it. They look depressed, like they're raging alcoholic. I'm talking about my family. I'm not talking about my family.
Yeah,
you seem like a pretty happy guy, and that's a very good sign because that means you actually want to do it.
Yeah,
unlike
I feel like you're a time traveler or something, and like you get all this work done like at some other time, and then just travel back here because literally,
yeah, man,
you have so much time. It seems
okay,
like.
you do.
So
what the fuck are you doing at this podcast? And you're a med school student.
okay.
I literally
can
have to
explain.
write a lab report, like
Oh,
turn it in before 12.
That was tough.
Did you not finish that yet?
Dude, that shit was hard.
Oh, but you finished it or you didn't?
I didn't finish it.
Oh, man, I remember I would procrastinate on my lab report so much to like the point, like the weekend it was due, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to hunker down for 48 hours. I'm getting this shit finished. I did not move for 48 hours. I'd sit there, just focused. My mom be calling me, was like, oh, no, you dead? Stuff like that. But I'd hunker down and finish that.
So, to answer your question, well, I don't know. How do I answer this? Well, one thing about me is I'm very motivated.
That you are.
The main reason I went into medicine is because of my mom. My mom has a disease called multiple sclerosis, or MS. It's a autoimmune disease. It's when your body attacks something called the myelin sheath. It's a covering of all of your nerves in your central nervous system. And when your body attacks the covering of the nerves, basically the signal cannot pass through that nerve. It has a lot of difficulty, and often those nerves will stop working. And so, and you can imagine, I mean, you have so many nerves, right? And this occurs in the brain, all throughout the central nervous system. So there's so many symptoms and issues with that. But yeah, so I grew up with a single, a sick mother, and me and my little brother, we had to take care of her at times. And, she used to call me my little doctor. She would say that I was her little doctor. And so I would take care of her, and I really enjoyed doing that. And she also liked watching Life in the ER, Untold Stories of the ER, back on Discovery Health before, I think now it's Oprah Winfrey Network. But anyway,
damn.
So sex sent me to the ER. That's always fun. But yeah, so the combination of watching these.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you haven't heard that show? Sex. He knows. Yeah. Sex sent me to the ER. Man, some people.
What the fuck were they doing? It's
man,
like, stick a broomstick in me.
Doctor,
help me.
That's an option. A lot of these oils and lubes, they're flammable. That was an episode.
Yo, man.
Fuck. That was an episode.
What was I didn't mean to cut you off from your compelling story, but
cool.
Flammable. Man, imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine.
It's because
Doctor, what happened?
They're all alcohol, like
a lot of them are. Yeah,
alcohol based.
One of the stories was. Well, I don't know.
Can you imagine
specifically what happened?
Can you imagine just being lit on fire?
I just can't think of a worse pain. I think I'd rather have my head lit on fire, honestly.
Oh man, I don't know.
Being lit on fire, man. Like, imagine if you went to the ER like today. You got to sit there and wait for.
That was a really heartwarming story, by the way.
What? Oh,
that makes everything. That gives a lot of who you are a little bit more context.
And that gives you
because to me you just it's like this man's either high all the time or he's just like he's just really well rested because it's just like
but you got that motivation, man. I think that's the difference between you.
So much respect for that.
There's
dude.
a difference between you and I'm generalizing, but bear with me. And the other people who go into the medical field is because that's that motivation.
Yeah, like the way I view it, I mean, I have no choice.
Yeah,
exactly. I need to be successful, and this is what I want to do. I helped out my mom, growing up. I enjoyed doing that, and I want to do that to the people. I like other people. I like talking to people. I like getting to know them. So this is something I enjoy. And someone told me, I think it was my dad, someone told me, Mario, everyone has to work to be in society. Everyone needs money. So you need to get a job. And you're going to work every day for almost the rest of your life. So you need to find a job that you see yourself doing every day for the rest of your life. And medicine was what I saw myself doing. So I'm pretty motivated. Time. So, okay, medical school is very hard. Don't get me wrong. And it's hard to get into. I'm also very happy because I got in.
Of course.
It's very hard.
I heard UAB's one of the hardest ones to get into.
They're pretty highly ranked, yeah. But any medical school. I mean, it's very hard to get into. And I was doing what you were saying. I was shooting for the stars. If I couldn't have been an MD, I'd be a DO. And we can talk about that later, but it is another position. If I couldn't be a doctor, I'd be a PA. If I couldn't be a PA, I'd be a nurse. It doesn't matter. I was shooting for the stars. I was thinking, well, I'm going to be realistic here. I enjoy science. I like physiology. I like the detail, and there is the money factor. So I'm going to shoot for the stars, and we'll see what I can get. And I was very lucky, and I got medical school. So and
you should be an educator.
Yeah,
honestly.
you got that immigrant mentality too. It's like,
yeah, well, I'm
do
Puerto Rican. I don't know. Have I told you?
Yeah, you told us you were Puerto Rican. Were you born in the States or?
I was born in Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm first generation American. So my parents swam over or whatever, and I was born here. But
it's not easy though, because my undergrad, I was a biomedical science undergrad at UAB. So my senior year was full of physiologies, pharmacology, pathophysiology, and then I did a master's as well. Actually, it was kind of interesting. Basically, I was applying to medical school, and they said, we really like you. I hope med school doesn't hear this. I appreciate everything. But anyway, they were like, I really like you, but you know what? That GPA, wasn't perfect. So do this master's. And it's going to teach you a lot of basically the first 2 years of medical school. If you keep above a 3.5 GPA or 3.2 GPA in this master's, we'll let you in.
So did you complete your master's degree?
Yeah, I did.
So you have a degree.
Yo, Erik, pointed to the mic more.
You have 2 degrees. What you're telling me?
Yeah, BS, MS, trying to get MD.
You have a master's of science.
Yeah.
This man.
Yeah, man.
It's cool stuff.
I had no idea.
I don't. This is unusual, man. You're healthy. I see you at the gym.
Highly educated.
You're highly educated. I see you at the gym.
That.
I see you at the
He's
gym.
lethal.
You're happy.
Yeah.
Dude, you're such a catch. Your girlfriend better just be like tying your ass down.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, man.
Awesome.
If there's a breakup,
I
I'm
need to
blaming
keep
the
my
girl.
girlfriend away from you.
I'm blaming the girl. I don't care if you slapped her. I'm blaming the girl. It's
I
like,
appreciate that, man. A true bro.
Watch she listen to this like, Mario, I don't want you hanging around him anymore.
No. She's super chill.
Dude, equal rights, equal fights.
She knows.
Oh man. Oh my
But
God.
I appreciate the kind words. I really do. I love it. It's so cool.
I'm blown away actually.
I speak.
appreciate that,
It's
dude.
actually motivating actually. If you really think about it. I mean,
I try to tell people, man, if I can do it, you can do it.
because,
if I can.
Yeah.
I don't think automation because of that. I don't think automation will ever make its way into the medical field. Maybe
I think,
but it won't.
It'll always
there's
be
always human touch.
assisting you.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
I
I don't think it's ever going to replace the human interaction.
Because automation, it's had a lot of effect on the industry I work in. And James in there, the engineer, he could tell you.
Really?
He could tell you.
How so?
So back in old school recording days, you didn't record on computers. You recorded on tape.
Okay.
And the channels that were available to you, like tracks, like that program I opened up, you can open up as many tracks as you think. I think up to, I don't know, 1,024.
Could we have like 100 people in here?
You could have 100 people and 100 by more than that.
Oh, wow.
But back in his time, or back in the old school times,
Damn.
like you would. No, I'm speaking the truth. I ain't
Back in
calling
the
you old.
olden days.
No, I'm telling like they were very limited in technology, right? So Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's, that was only recorded on a 4-track.
I hate that album.
I know you hate it, but Let me talk technology here, okay? So imagine this. You got to record orchestra. You got to record the Beatles. You got to record the instruments. You got to record all the drums on 4 mics.
That's a lot of manpower.
On 4 mics. That's all you had. You can't mic up everything.
That would take forever.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, at least in my industry, when it comes to technology, it's certainly made a lot of things easier. And obviously now these days we don't have tape operators.
Okay, so it's
tape operators used to be a job where your job was to rewind the tape, calibrate it. When you edit, you would have to cut the tape right, and you could only do 1 cut.
So it's affected you positively then.
It has, because everything's easier. But now here's the problem, right? You get a lot of people who think they know what they're doing. So that's why there's so many rappers, so many engineers who suck. Because what's the entry price for this job now? Buy a laptop, you could steal a laptop, crack a program, and buy a $99 interface. And there you go. Now you're technically a recording engineer. You see what I'm saying?
Are you saying people shouldn't do that? Because I'm about to do that.
I think nothing's wrong with that.
Hey man, it's a grind.
Nothing's wrong with that. My only issue is when people don't take that further and try to educate themselves and learn about the nuances of, the technical and the art form of audio. Mm-hmm. And that probably has to do because studio engineers and live engineers, those are 2 different beasts. Live engineers, you have to know what you're doing. You have to know acoustics.
Yeah.
Whether that's through experience or like tons of messed up shows, that's experience. That's something that $99 in a cracked program will never teach you. But in terms of studio stuff, there's just a lot of people who they think that's it. And I feel like automation in a way, or technology, it's affected the field I'm in very negatively. It's great because, we have all this technology.
Because of the availability of it?
The availability of it.
Okay.
Interesting.
So think of it like this. I don't know if this is a correct analogy. Imagine if med school just opened up the floodgates, right?
Yeah.
And saying if you have at least above a 2.0 GPA, we'll take you.
But there's
think
a
of it
gate
like that.
because you have to be good at med school. It's not just that it's available to everyone.
And that's the difference. You got to be good.
So there's a barrier that's not in music essentially.
Here in the field of music, you don't have to be good.
Yeah.
You could suck shit. You can honestly suck shit at your job and still do well. And that's why it's a lot harder for...
I mean, look at all the trash music out there.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, how are these people making money off of this?
Because,
how am I not making money off of this?
It's just money. That's it.
Yeah.
It's really it. But, that's just me ranting about my field. How...
Whenever I first heard you say automation, I thought you were talking about, like, automation.
I wouldn't be surprised if 50 years down the road that there's all of a sudden a plugin or a device that mixes everything for you. I would not be surprised that my job becomes completely fucking useless.
I don't think that that's ever going to happen because I feel like music is it's very unique to humans. It's very like just look at how diverse and how reaching music can be. Like you don't even have to speak the same language in order to understand.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Like I mean, people are still appreciate Renaissance, like in the age of just classical music like that, and like hundreds of years after after they were first like conceived. So I don't think music is ever going to be taken over by some like AI. Which is why I originally thought that that's what you were headed towards, because like AI is accelerating automation.
No, I'm not saying AI is
so quickly.
I'm not going to say AI is going to go rap like 2 Chainz, but
I mean, just the part of like the production and just putting everything together and
because there's a site called Landa, right?
Yeah,
it's a mastering website. So what mastering is, it's the final process after mixing, and it's a site that masters for you. So you don't even have to. You got to pay, obviously, but you don't got to send it off to some mastering engineer.
Interesting.
Nowhere.
Does it do a decent job?
It does. That's the scary part.
Yeah. Really?
That's the scary part.
Well,
now
you'll be surprised.
What makes engineers successful in the terms of audio? And I use that term very loosely because I just call them mixing guys. Mm-hmm. I call live guys engineers because they actually have to know acoustics. That's my opinion. I'm sorry, James. But what was I saying? But the thing that makes mixing engineers and mastering engineers why people go to them. It's not necessarily because they're better. It all comes down to taste. It all comes down to a different nuance they have when compared to the other guy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like your own sound. It's like, why would I?
It's your style. It's your signature.
Exactly. Think of it like, Iverson here makes beats. Well, a lot of people make beats, but why do people go to him? He has a unique sound to it. So
that is interesting.
But it's going to come to the point, I feel like technology, it's going to come to the point where people don't even care about those nuances anymore.
But I think it's that creativity. So I think if you want to still be relevant, I think that you have to be creative.
Of course. I mean, here's another thing I'm going to say, right? Cameras, right? Phone cameras. Everyone's a photographer now, right? Not everyone's a great photographer.
To the detriment of my Instagram feed, everyone's a photographer.
Everyone is a photographer. So they don't care about the lens. They don't care about the camera. They don't care about the shutter speed because now they have a camera on their phone and they don't give a fuck about it. So you kind of see what I'm talking about, how technology it's sort of taking away the nuances of, I guess I can call it art, of a little bit of art.
But I mean, what do you classify as art? Because we deem art to be very, very unique and very it's, you don't know how to define it, but you know it when you see it. But at the same time, a lot of art follows the same kind of basic rules. It's like I think it's called the rule of thirds, and the most appealing art tends to be, and this is like multi-generational art. The most appealing it tends to be the ones that satisfy this need. So it's interesting to say that, because like AI technology is, I mean, what I would be most scared of in terms of like having a job that can be replaced by that, because for example, NVIDIA maybe like 2 years ago, they have like this AI powered car, and instead of developing this complex algorithm to essentially tell this AI how to drive this car, all they did was they had this basic AI that had basic learning capabilities, and they just allowed it to watch video. I say watch video, but they just fed it like driving video. And it wasn't necessarily good driving video. It wasn't, it was just an influx of information of just driving. And with that AI taught itself how to drive. And it behaved in such a way that it obeyed stop signs, it obeyed traffic laws. It was literally the perfect like model driver. And what's really, really kind of, offsetting about this is that the developers couldn't explain why the AI made the decisions that it did. Because it learned to make those decisions. So I think it's really interesting that
because
nothing is safe to say that.
Right. And it's funny that you bring up the point about, the driving and the AI, how it learned how to drive. Well, don't quote me on this, but I heard Lander, it's actually a program. It's a software. Once you send a mix file to it, like a stereo file, it'll start to learn how your mixes are, and it'll start to learn what it does. So I think if two engineers, right, sent the same file, mixed the same way to different Lander accounts, it'd sound different, because that Lander account or that software to that account mastered one track differently than the other.
I wonder if somebody should make a comparison about like sending, whatever your raw files to like an actual person versus versus like the automated thing.
Well, here's the thing.
See how it compares.
Here's the thing, right? The average music listener, I mean, I'm guilty
probably
of it
isn't going to notice.
Yeah, they don't pay attention, and that's a part of our job. That's part of any engineering or any technical job, is no one knows who you are until something's wrong.
Damn.
Yep, it's true. It's true. It's true. Like if your electrical lines are fucked up, well, now everyone knows who the electricians are.
That's
kind of thing.
So true. Like people pay attention to they only pay attention to things when things go south. But like when things are running cleanly, they don't appreciate the work that has to be done in order to make things.
Speaking of appreciation, I read up somewhere that a lot of people in the medical profession, they tend to get a little bit depressed or down because, the rigorous schooling they have to go through, and then they feel like they're underappreciated. I had a friend she told me that a lot of dentists feel this way because they feel like their work is underappreciated.
Don't they have aren't dentists like the most unhappy?
Yes,
like,
and they have the highest. Apparently, they have the highest suicide rates.
Damn,
too.
I didn't know that. I just knew that they were.
Yeah,
Yeah, because my dad's a dentist, and he has to take his depression medicine all the time.
Oh,
really,
dude.
man.
I didn't mean to make a joke out of that.
Oh,
just to
you
be,
good.
Man, because it's crazy, man. Maybe it's me being blunt. Maybe it's me being rude or blunt or however. But it was like,
what about
my thing
that?
is, my
People
thing is,
do
like,
hate dentists though.
Yeah, that's when
that has
what
to do with the
Yeah.
problem.
Like,
I'm scared
I've
of
been
dentists.
avoiding
Don't
going
like
to the dentist for like a year and a half now. I probably should take my.
I
ass
mean,
to
I
the
think that's
dentist.
just a proof. That's proof that money can't solve everything because they make good money. They're still sad as fuck. Some of them.
Yeah. I don't know very much about depression rates with dentists, but that is a pretty big thing in the medical profession, because you're trying to make people's lives better, and people die, and sometimes you do everything right. You do everything you can do, and it's not enough. So I know personally that's gonna be tough for me because I'm a softie.
I know it's tough for nurses too.
Can I get your opinion on the anti-vaxxers?
Oh my gosh!
I just wish that we
Okay.
could all put them in just like one city and just let nature take its
Wow,
course.
that's an interesting mindset there, Eric.
Dude, I thought you were gonna say. I wish we could put them all in one city. Send a predator drone.
No,
Oh my god!
let them live peacefully. Let them carry on their lives, but just confine them to an area where they can't take advantage of herd immunity.
Oh my
Like little
goodness!
hamsters.
Because the reason that these mofos are alive is because other people around them aren't fucking up and are actually like being vaccinated.
So if you were to press a big reset button, that discussion we had, if you were just to press a button and just eliminate all the problems, it'd be the anti-vaxxers.
I don't mean to generalize. I know we say that a lot, but
Yes, you do.
I feel like the anti-vaxxers are just not people that I would just want to be associated with.
Oh my goodness!
So I think that I could
Okay.
I could be without. I could be without.
Yo,
that
Eric, you say I make
Oh,
some
man.
carpet bomb statements. Look at you, man.
Okay.
You're making.
but it's okay.
I don't want to be associated
Because
with
it be-
such filth.
Because it's not even necessarily like, oh, you have a different point of view of me. It's that like literally, kids are dying because healthy kids aren't being vaccinated, and then they're contracting these diseases that aren't affecting them. But then this kid that has cancer and is going through chemo at 2 years old can't be vaccinated and then dies due to this preventable cause. Like you're fucking up other people.
Didn't like chickenpox or polio come back?
These vastly
Oh,
eradicated
they're
diseases
all-
are literally making a comeback.
A small amount. A lot of them are coming back.
Oh man.
So, yeah, from my opinion on anti-vaccinators, okay.
Burn 'em
my,
at the stake.
My opinion is
Eric's
That's what
trying
he
to
just
kill
said.
him.
He
So-
whispered that to me.
This
just
is
now.
done, Mario.
So-
don't be nice. Don't be kind.
don't be
Quit
nice. Okay, everyone has their opinion. Everyone can choose what to do with their bodies and their lives. My opinion, get vaccinated, because when we are becoming vaccinated, we're fighting evolution here.
Yeah.
We are fighting evolution to live longer and live better lives and to not be sick. So these vaccines are used to basically help your immune system, to remind your immune system, to teach your immune system, hey, if you ever see this, take care of it. This
Yeah.
is bad. Don't mess with this. And all it took was that one. Oh wow! That one researcher, I think
he lost
is
his
a doctor.
PhD.
Yeah, and he tried to link autism with vaccines, and I guess for some people that was enough. They were like,
Yeah.
"Oh man, that would, I don't want that." And apparently that was enough. Which, by the way, is not true.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
He misrepresented figures. He tried linking it to mercury content in vaccines, which you get more mercury through other means. And then he just made he made allegations about formaldehyde and other preservatives that are just toxic to microbes. They just essentially prevent the spread of microbes.
Yo, you know what? We should the American government should stop worrying about deporting illegals and should start deporting anti-vaxxers. Those are real. Those
my
are real
goodness.
problems.
But like
Those are
wherever
real
we send
problems
them,
in this
they're just
country.
gonna that country's gonna be fucked.
We're gonna send to Vietnam, right? And they're gonna work in the rice fields and they're
Damn.
gonna die. Okay,
Wow.
easy,
Wow.
very easy solution. All right, let's stop talking about these waste of space people, and let's talk about something else.
Damn.
And the whole argument
what?
is very unfounded, because even if you take his research seriously, like formaldehyde, for example.
Yeah.
So formaldehyde is in bananas, apples, spinach, beef, kale. Like it's in literally all of these things in larger concentrations, and then people are like, "Oh, it's some chemical in vaccines, and it's going to kill you." Like
That just comes
there's
from
chemicals in
ignorance.
everything. That's
ridiculous.
what things are made out of. They're made out of chemicals.
Oh yeah, Mario. How about you tell us about that time you shadowed
Okay, yeah.
the guy just roasted
So
the patient?
Yeah, so I'm not currently shadowing him. I was shadowing him in the past. This physician was basically an example of, it's somewhat of a stereotype of physicians that, you know, they don't really care to connect with the patient, to build this like a friendship. All they really care about is to walk in there, tell them what was wrong, what they should do, and walk out. And so what happened was, I was shadowing this specialist. He specializes in we'll say like joint and spine health, rehabilitation, PM&R doctor. And basically this lady came in and she was overweight, and but she has been losing weight, which was good. Very overweight, not a little bit, not BMI overweight.
So morbidly.
Yes. And he was discussing with her, oh, you know, you're watching your diet, you're watching this and that. She was like, yeah. And then she says, oh, but I don't do squats because I heard that's bad for your knees. And like he just interrupts her and says, 1 second, turns to me and says, Mario, you should learn that any exercise, even if it's wrong exercise, any exercise is better than no exercise, because you're going to have patients that think things are wrong, and it's just not true.
He just said this in front of her.
Yeah. And then turns back to her and goes, yeah, you know what? Squats wouldn't be such a bad idea. Because,
Holy shit.
yeah.
Man.
So, you know,
That sucks, man.
that was interesting.
Because that woman's confidence is so frail.
Yeah.
It's already probably difficult for her to even, talk about this sort of stuff, and just to have any kind of confidence just crushed like that, dude.
Dude, like everyone, no one wants to eat vegetables.
You don't
The
even
truth
have
hurts.
I hate
It's not even just
Oh,
vegetables.
are you defending this man?
No, yeah, I am a little bit. You
okay.
You gotta be a little bit
Devil's
harsh,
advocate.
right?
Dude, we're beefing now.
Why are we beefing? Because I'm glad somebody told her the truth and her parents.
Okay,
didn't?
but you can have this aside as an actual aside privately to your student. You don't have to tear down this woman for the sake of having a teaching moment with you.
It comes to the point where
That comment could have been made after she had left.
the point is there comes to a certain point where I have a niece, right? I have a niece, and she could be a little shit sometimes, and then with her parents, it comes to a point where you can't just tell them to stop anymore. You gotta do a little bit something more, whether that's slapping her hand, not giving her cookies. You gotta take things for people to know. There's gotta be some sort of concept of punishment.
Yeah, but you're not. But okay, so this lady, it's paying to be there. She's not there.
Was it a private clinic?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's not there. Because she has to be. She's there because she's actively trying to better herself. So she's already. You can already refute any evidence that this woman isn't trying hard enough, because she obviously is.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that comment was so unnecessary to make at that moment. Like people don't respond well to hateful criticism. Like it's that never works for anyone. It never works to scold a child. It's been proven countless times. It never works to actually hit them. It never works to make them feel like they can't be part of the conversation. Because I remember as a kid, my mom would actually do this to where like I would do something that she deemed would be worth criticizing. And then she would, like while I'm there, like tell, my older sister, like as if like I wasn't there, like obviously talking about me. And when I got older, I was like, listen, that was a really shitty thing for you to say. And then she completely understood that. And then since then, she changed the way that she addresses my my little brother, and because of that, he's much more well behaved than I am. Because I was a little shit, but because like I like. I was a good kid, but I mean, my little brother is even better than I was. Like this kid's going far.
You think maybe that's because he has an older brother like you. He has a mother who's already raised 2 kids. You said you had a sister, right?
Yeah.
That might come with experience too, a little bit.
I think it comes down to the fact that she doesn't. It's a different approach to disciplining people. It's just the whole thing. It just revolves around people just don't respond well to just negative attacks and just negativity in general. It's much more like someone's way more likely to listen to you.
But is any harsh truth, is that positive? Is any harsh
Sometimes
truth,
you do need to be hit with the cold hard facts. That's 100%.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I'm not denying that.
I'm not saying like this physician
just don't shit on the woman.
Sometimes that's what it takes. Unfortunately,
I don't think so.
I'm not saying this physician needed to grab her by the throat and do like a jujitsu throw, but sometimes you need a little kick.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on this? I feel like you.
Yeah, Iverson, you've been quiet this whole episode.
Yeah.
So what you got, man?
He looked like he.
So what do you want to say, Iverson?
Oh, I mean, not really. I was just entertained.
Yeah.
Story.
Yeah.
It was a good story.
He's getting free entertainment right now.
Sitting on the fence.
I think Arn's been beating around the bush. Are you saying that the younger generation were too soft?
No,
is that what it is?
Soft? It depends.
100%.
I feel like
It depends.
Own it,
We're too
dude.
soft.
You've said that to me countless times. Own it.
My mom
These
called
millennials.
my mom called
These
my generation a bunch of
soft.
pussies. That's what my mom said. I
like
think
she says those words.
Yeah, she said it. I don't know where she learned that word. Definitely not around me.
But I just think that it's very ironic for like older generations to just complain, and call and just name call, like millennials, for example.
Now
like,
hold up. Before you go into that, there's a difference between older generations in America and older generations from a different country. Because I think there's a big difference.
But they make up a tiny amount of the fraction. Let's look at the bigger picture. So like
let's attack Americans.
Older Americans.
The common thing is that old people just think that millennials are just a bunch of like lazy shits, essentially, and that then they're soft and they're easily offended. But like, isn't it so ironic that they are constantly complaining? Like, doesn't that make them what they're like complaining about? Like, they're complaining about us, complaining about everything, but they're just wasting all this energy complaining about themselves.
You've been on Facebook too much, man.
Nah,
you never go to Facebook to go.
Oh no, I'm not talking about that.
That's the fucking petting zoo of the internet.
But this is a common like the idea of just people shitting on millennials in general.
Well, me in general, you were asking me, do I think some people are soft?
Yeah.
Yes, I think some people are soft.
Yeah.
And why I feel that way? I think some. I don't think everyone's soft. Because we were talking about earlier, everybody's different. Everybody is different. Whether that comes to nutrition, mentality, or not. I say everyone's soft because to me, at one point, a 60-hour work week, going to school full time, and getting 2 hours of sleep every night, that was normal for me. So I'm a little bit jaded, like you say. I'm conditioned a little bit different.
But I mean,
so my opinion
your
might be,
definition of hardship is different because like that ain't shit compared to what other people have been through.
That ain't shit compared to my parents. I ain't saying that's anything.
There was this article that the Los Angeles Times wrote about this immigrant kid. He's 15 years old, and he came to the States by himself because his parents had died. So this immigrant orphan at the age of 10, somehow made his way into California, and how a 10-year-old does that, or however 10, 11, 12-year-old does that, I don't know.
So he probably thinks everyone's a pussy.
No, let me. He doesn't have an opinion about that. So he just, he enrolled in school. He stayed with some people that just took him in and understood a little bit of the hardship that he had gone through. And this kid goes to school. I think this year he just graduated because it came out a couple years ago. But he would go to school, normal school, and then as soon as he got out of school, from 3 p.m. until 2 a.m. would work in his kitchen washing dishes.
I think I saw that.
every single day for years. And so much so that, he would struggle in school and he would be like almost like this mute genius because he just didn't have enough time. But even so, he would still, do really well in school. And just to do that at that young age, like, all that to say is your hardship is your own, and like your definition of what, how difficult things are is very, very individual.
It's very true, because what I went through is nothing compared to that kid, and what I went through is definitely nothing compared to what my dad went through, because my dad lost everything after the war, right? So it's different. It's based off perception.
Yeah.
But my opinion still stands. But I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I get that. I'm mainly targeting the people who don't have those hardships. You know
That
what
is
I'm
true.
talking about.
Oh,
I'm
God.
targeting those people.
It just makes me so upset that there's like, all of these, not just, Mexicans, because there's also this common misconception that all immigrants are from Mexico, when in reality, a lot, like the majority of them are from South America. And then there's like another huge percentage of the pie that come from, like Eastern European countries, but just because
they don't play.
But just because of the, the color of their skin, they're not discriminated against to the same extent. Because like you hear immigrant and you automatically think Mexican. Like that's just like it sucks, but that's the current the current rhetoric has just like made this. But it just really it's really upsetting. And this goes on with what you said, that you have all of these Americans, they're native born Americans that just haven't done shit. And I can empathize with you, because I'm like there's no excuse for you not to have done anything with your life, because you've had every opportunity.
The reason I feel that way is because I will never understand the sacrifice my dad and my mom had to do to get here. I will never understand that, and that's what pushes me to be a little harsher, a little more hardcore, like push myself 150%, because I know I could push 300%, and that would not be anything compared to what they did. So that's why I'm really harsh. I'm kind of this no bullshit person.
Yeah,
that's the way. I see
and that's
it.
just how you've developed as a person, and I think that offers a unique outlook for a lot of things. I think that's useful for a lot of things, but
it's also the reason I don't have a lot of friends. So.
It can come with some negatives. It's not.
But what were you saying? I was gonna pull up another interesting point, but I forgot. What else? God, something really.
Going off of that,
yeah,
it's
kill some time for me, Erik.
It's actually very interesting that, so throughout America's history, in every epic of just extreme harshness, depression, like just global recessions, things that just when things just have gone south and the economy's tanked and there's been problems, just immigrants are blamed every single time. Like immigrants are used as a scapegoat tactic to blame all of America's current troubles on that demographic of people. Like during like the early 1900s, for example, I think it may have been early 1800s. Like the Chinese and Japanese and all these Asian immigrants were being blamed for all of the problems that America was having. So much so that we had internment camps.
Yo, so going off that, did you guys hear about?
Damn, you just gonna shit on my point like that?
No. Did you guys hear about Harvard? How they were starting to deny Asians because they were scoring too high? I find that really ironic.
I don't know about that.
I mean, I heard things about it. I looked it up. There's a lawsuit going on about it, but I just find that funny.
When was that?
That was like, June,
like their
July.
undergrad? Like,
yeah, they were pushing away Asians because they started scoring too high, and everyone's getting mad at
because the
Asians.
majority of high technology jobs, the majority of new PhD holders are all foreign born.
Yeah. If you ain't gonna take it, someone else is going to. Someone else is gonna swim on over.
It's that. It's like you said. It's that immigrant mentality. It's just like everyone wants it, like just way more than your average American.
Oh yeah, because like in Vietnam, for example, I think if you made $100 a month in Vietnam, you were considered doing pretty well.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother story we'll have to talk about. But continue to your point before I quote unquote shit on it.
Yeah, it's just that just immigrants just get shit on needlessly is what I'm saying.
It's them. It's the them. It's
Yeah.
the minority.
It's them.
It's the easy thing to do for
Yeah.
the majority.
It's
to do.
it's so easy.
There's a lot less of them.
And then there's growing feelings of like nationalism as opposed to patriotism. And I think not enough people know the difference between, nationalism and patriotism, that they just like all these patriots that like think that they're, representing America end up just being blatant racist nationalists. And if they're intolerance of other cultures and other people. I mean, actually, I shouldn't say racism, because racism I think is a spectrum. I think I'll just say prejudice, because prejudice being prejudiced is at the root of racism. But I think that most people that claim to be patriots are just nationalists.
Asians are pretty racist. I don't know if you noticed that. Like you should hear how some Asians talk about each other.
I think that it's incredibly like.
It's ironic.
Yeah.
You should hear.
I think that everyone to a degree has like prejudice feelings.
Oh no, they're crazy. Like in Japan, they don't like foreigners. They don't like Chinese people. They think they're dirty. They think Vietnamese people are dirty too.
Oh damn, I didn't know that.
Chinese people, they hate.
Can we talk about how like
you don't even have to be a different skin color for people?
Okay. This is a completely different tangent, but can we talk about how fly South Koreans are and how like their culture has like. It's so huge now. Like
it's their mommy's money.
But even so, like it's just like K-pop culture and just like like Chinese rap, like the Higher Brothers. There's like a lot of groups like 88 Rising. All these like these Asian kids are just coming to the States and just tearing it up. I think it's really interesting.
They are, and that kind of music is just going to last longer in those markets, because America is not only the biggest music market in the world, it's the music market that gets things first. Why do you think jazz is still relevant in Japan and no one gives a shit about it here?
Wow, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know.
Yeah, because the music hit them later. People in Europe, they're still rocking out to 70s, your Led Zeppelin, your Foo Fighters. They love stuff like that.
It's that consumerist culture. It's just like what's the next big thing, and it just makes everything else obsolete.
Pretty much, man. But yeah,
this is kind of depressing. Can we talk about some lively stuff?
how is that depressing?
It's just like I don't know. Everything we've talked about has led to some negative. Thing.
Well, here's the thing. It's because I brought some intelligent people. On for this episode, so it's going to be a little bit more serious.
I appreciate you continually.
Isn't that
calling me
weird that like the
intelligent?
more intelligent you are, the more likely you are to be depressed?
Because it's called the curse of the high IQ.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Curse
I
of the
didn't
high
think
IQ.
about that.
So what lively topics do you want to talk about in the 10 minutes we have left? It's been going on for 3 hours almost.
Wow.
Really?
Oh yeah, time flies.
Wow.
So what lively stuff do you want to talk about? There's some
What's going on right now?
There's some nice girls with
That's-
some nice booty at the gym, man. I don't know what else to say.
Honestly.
What? I wouldn't know.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, right.
About that shift of like girls with big booties like prior to 2000s were considered like fat, and all of a sudden these white
All of a sudden.
girls
It's because
just
it's because everyone's getting fat, and we're like, hey. I mean,
no, but it's not even that. It's all these. It's all these like.
yeah. It's some acceptance, because I feel like, but I don't know. I don't want to word it the way I was going to.
How are you gonna word it, man? I can't be the only crazy one on this
It allows some individuals who have a booty to express it.
I just love the fact that that's moving towards that.
Oh yeah.
show. When's it gonna move?
We need more big booty bitches everywhere.
When's it gonna go to thighs, man? I thought thighs were a thing, or was that like a really old thing?
I think that's tight. Let's try.
I
Okay,
think-
we're borderline objectifying women right now. Let's slow down a little bit.
All right,
You should
let's
hear how
objectify
we
men.
appreciate-
Yeah, you should hear how
Thighs.
some women talk about men, man. It's some crazy shit.
Dude, girls are incredibly mean. Like
are.
within themselves, to each other. And do you ever notice that girls
Yeah.
comment on each other's pictures like,
Yeah, they'll fucking
oh,
rip each other to
yeah,
shreds,
it's like,
man.
but somehow that's like a compliment.
Yo, I knew. God.
And they'll be fake to each other's faces
Oh,
too.
dude,
Like,
it's-
oh my
They will-
god.
Oh my God. Hi.
Brittany.
Yo, I hate that. I want to.
Oh, it's so good to see you.
Every time I hear people talk like that, there's just some unexplained rage, and my blood pressure jumps to 220 above 130 out of nowhere. I don't know. there's just some unexplained rage that just surfaces up.
He turns into the Hulk.
Yeah, I turn into the yellow Hulk basically. So, but what other topics do we talk? Eric was saying we were objectifying women. I mean, what else? What topics do you want to talk about? So we don't come off as sexist pigs.
We're equal here. We'll objectify men.
Like Eric said, equal rights, equal fights.
Yeah, I think Traps.
Please don't
Traps
call me on
are the new abs. Is that what's going on now? Dad bods coming in. Girls don't care about them abs anymore.
Okay,
they want arms.
Let's discuss the mentality
traps.
behind a dad bod and why girls somehow
Oh my God.
prefer this.
I hate the
I
dad
don't
bod.
think that it's because they prefer it, but I think that it's intimidating having a partner that is very, very fit. Like, think about it.
I can
I
see
see.
that.
They're looking. They want to make sure that they're the hot one. In the
I
relationship.
think so.
My
I think
girlfriend tries to
it's that.
fatten me up every day,
Ooh,
and she straight up tells me, she's like, "I need you to be bigger." And,
she's really self-confident.
That's what she said.
She's really self-confident.
I need you to be
about
bigger.
that. I need
mean,
you to put on 50
She's a
pounds.
baker, by the way. My girlfriend's a
Oh,
baker.
dude.
Shout out to
Oh, no.
Luis's Cakes and Things on Montgomery Highway.
Is that
Yeah, she's like the main baker there.
really?
Yeah, Luis's Cakes and Things. You should,
Dude,
if you
I
hear
know
this,
that. My
they have
mom has
awesome
gone there,
stuff.
man.
She
said some wonderful things
if you
about
want. Yeah.
This show is still sponsored by me. Anyways,
Yeah,
continue.
yeah.
Help me.
Well, I had a different point. I was objectifying men to be equal here, but
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, you brought up the dad bod. Man, I don't. What is with this mess? We should be working out. As someone in medicine, we should all be trying to better ourselves because the healthier
Exactly.
we are now, the better life is gonna be in the future.
Yeah.
Because those things will like if you don't take care of yourself now, I know your problems will start slamming you once you start getting older.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know one person in my family, you know, she had normal blood pressure, right? Didn't go to the gym, don't do anything. You know, she's not big, but you know, she's normal. And then she started hitting all these, you know, hypertension. It's like all these health problems just hit you like a brick
Hold
wall.
up.
What are you looking at, Eric?
Okay, so I just looked up just good things that have happened in 2018, some feel good shit.
What you-
This woman by the name of Barbara.
Barbara.
Yeah. Do you know who this person is?
I've heard that
She's
name.
a singer.
On like
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, well, that's irrelevant because she cloned her dead dog.
Oh, I do it.
Oh God.
Why are we cloning humans?
What are the
That's
ethics
so
behind
fucking
that?
creepy, man.
know.
How is that good news?
That's fucking
Because
creepy,
you can
man.
clone a dog. If your
I
dog
don't know.
dies, just
Dude,
clone it.
people
But it
develop
might not
such
be
an
the same
attachment.
one.
It's literally the biggest tragedy. Oh, it's my girlfriend. I'm gonna text her real quick.
While he's gone.
No,
No, I'm kidding.
I just texted her.
Yo, once that dog is dead, it's dead, man. I don't like the idea of
but
cloning.
like, it's just like
Bring
I don't
it
know.
back.
Do you have a dog?
I have two.
How attached to you are
I
you?
love them, but I don't want to bring them back because I don't think that's them anymore.
You don't love him.
That's
something
At that,
else.
point, at that point, it's a different dog.
It's a different
It
dog
is-
that looks
it
like my
is-
dog.
It is a different dog.
Like imagine if Reg died and then you have a clone of her,
That's
which
fucked
that's
up.
fucking
That's
creepy.
fucked up.
I mean,
It's the
is that
same
fucked up? Is it fucked up? It sounds like love to
Okay,
me.
I was looking
Sounds
at
like
it.
true love.
That's some creepy shit, my G.
Nah, dude, we need to clone people. When is that gonna happen?
Okay.
Yeah, I heard it's already look at Eric trying to
We
be
should.
positive. Let's not get deep.
Man.
Let's look up more. Let's look up more things.
I wasn't
that
trying
are
to get
supposed
deep.
be-
I just thought it was cool.
I'm trying to
God.
talk about cloning people. I'm ready for this. Let's talk about this. Why aren't we cloning
Cloning people?
So can I clone myself?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's try.
We have that capability, though.
Yeah, let's
we
do it.
I don't want to clone myself. I don't want to deal with
Ethics.
myself.
It's
No, I didn't say
it's
that
just the ethical. It's an ethical dilemma.
Let's get rid of the ethical and deep talk and let's look up more things. Come on, keep scrolling. Let me see what good
else
things
is-
have
what's
happened in
good today?
2018.
Well, computer transcribes words without sound. What does that even?
All right, I don't care.
As
Keep
in,
going.
like-
What does that even mean?
That's probably amazing, but I don't care. Keep going. Hobby Lobby. What the hell's Hobby Lobby
I
doing?
don't
there?
know.
Oh, okay. I have a random thing to tell you.
Oh my
Did you
God.
guys know that here at UAB, they're doing research. They're genetically modifying pigs and their hearts so that
Ooh.
we can get this heart that's like, somewhere between a pig and a human heart. We're genetically modifying pig hearts so that they can be transplanted in humans.
Wow.
So, imagine that.
are we implanting human cells into them, or are we changing
No, genetically.
genetically
We're
altering
genetically,
them?
we are genetically altering these pigs so that, when you have a heart attack, which means, by the way, when you have a heart attack, that means that the actual muscle of your heart stops getting blood flow and is dying. So that's why it's hard to deal with multiple heart attacks, and that's why people die. But yeah, imagine you get a heart attack or something is going wrong with your heart, you just get a new one.
I wonder if the pig tastes any different.
And wow.
I think unless like you are young and or have like a good amount of life left. I don't know about just like keeping these, because like eventually what is going to happen is with all of these high tech heart, like engineered hearts, is that all of the rich people that should be dying are staying alive. For sure. And that's already a huge issue.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if Warren Buffett stayed alive.
Yeah, he's cool. He's cool, bro.
He's cool. I like Warren Buffett. Do you see his morning routine, man? His morning routine.
Yeah, I watched the video.
He still drives the same old beat up old like Buick or Oldsmobile. He goes to McDonald's. He gets a coffee and I think like a egg and bacon bagel, 2 of them. And he just sits there, eats, and reads the news.
Yeah. But yeah, I think in the future, if something's going wrong with you, just buy a new one. You have diabetes because your pancreas isn't working anymore. You just get a new one. Your heart's not working well. You get a new one. Lungs, new one. Cancer, replace the organ.
But then that just goes to there's no consequences for your action.
Yeah, you could just be like a heavy drinker, and then because you have the money, you can just be like,
well, fuck it, make money off them. People are lazy.
Yeah, but it's just like when things become like that, and it starts to hurt the greater good.
Yo, man, I thought we were looking up some happy time. What the fuck, Eric?
It's happy, bro. We're genetically modifying pigs to get some hearts.
Yeah, we're making money off people who make irresponsible decisions. Isn't that happy? What else you got, Eric? Let me look up some stuff.
I can't find anything.
Man, what else is good? Let me look up. Good news today.
What's happening?
Man, for some reason, the Wi-Fi card on my laptop is completely gone. So there goes that. I'm sitting here looking at Eric. What you got for me, man?
Dude, this 2018 has just not been a good year. Apparently.
We got 5 minutes left, man. What do we got?
Happy. Well, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah,
you guys were great. You guys were great.
Can we come back, or is it gonna be some
issues?
issues?
Awesome.
I'll get you guys back. Probably not next month, but probably around January. I want to get to a point where I keep bringing.
Dude, I might be dead by then.
You're not gonna be fucking dead.
you won't be dead.
You live such a wholesome life. Nothing's gonna happen to you. Who are you gonna piss off? Your little brother? Your little brother ain't gonna kill you.
He would fade me so quick, though.
He would. You probably taught him how to fade. You probably beat the shit out of him. And now
I didn't.
He's waiting to get his chance.
It's really kind of saddening seeing my little brother or a younger sibling grow, because it's just like, I don't know. You have like this mental image of like, who they are, and they're just like this cute little kid, but then they're all grown up and they're like doing stuff that like you never thought that they would be doing.
So true.
Yeah, that's that's how parents feel.
It's just so scary, dude. Like time it's so scary.
How old's your little brother?
I think he's 12 now.
Okay.
No, I know. I think he turned 11. My bad.
My little brother's 20, and I always viewed him as my cute little brother.
Yeah, and now he's in college.
Really, and now he's like, "Yo, bro, pick me up some vodka or something."
Oh,
and
chill out. Are you 21 though?
No, you're 21. I would never do that.
Yo, my little cousin. I always see him as my little cousin, even though he's 18. I still make fun of him.
I think that's why, just like mom, your mom and dad, they're never gonna get rid of that image of you, unless they just don't care about you.
They probably will never get rid of that image because you were probably a lot sweeter. You probably weren't such a pain in the ass.
Dude, I'm the same sweet kid that I was however long ago. That image was.
Yeah, right. I bet you were a pain in the ass. Your mom's. But. Anyways, I think we're going to wrap it up. It was a very good 3-hour episode, I think. God.
It was a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
I really appreciate what's the official position?
Position?
Of our...
Oh, James?
James.
The engineer?
Of our chaperon over there?
James. Yeah, our chaperone slash engineer.
Thank you very much, James.
I appreciate our chaperone slash engineer, James.
Well, thank you.
All
right. Well, thank you guys for coming out. I'll let you guys know whenever I bring you on the show next. I'll probably see you guys at the gym. We'll probably hang out. We'll probably play Overwatch or something. I don't know.
Play your cards right. We can do a lot more than that.
Hey.
Miss me with that. All right, let's wrap it up.
We're done. Gay shit.
We're done.
that millennial gay shit.
Oh, God.